y'all, welcome back to my channel. If you're new to my channel, welcome. My name is Sharifa and my poetry name is New Lily. If you're new to the channel, please check out the links located in the description box and comment section. And in both locations, you'll find an identical set of links that lead to videos that talk about what started my targeting in 2020, as well as links that lead to videos that share information about the targeted individual program, information about the tactics used on targets, information about the technology used on targets, and information about the program in general. Y'all, this is more documentation of the same crazy Delulu bullshit that I have been dealing with for about a year now. At this point, it's been about a year since the main incident that took place in the gym with the trainer. Okay, so this is more documentation from the last video I've made. Actually, there were like 2 videos that I made after that one that I decided not to post them. Because I'm like, I said everything that I needed to say about this situation. There's nothing more that I need to say. But still constantly with the technology, I'm being assaulted. They're sending false narratives. They're harassing and haranguing me all day long about the situation. I'm going to the gym to work out. I'm dealing with tactics. I'm dealing with harassment, antagonization, stalking, creepy behavior, etc. And so here I am again, documenting more gangstalking activity. It's crazy stuff, y'all, that I have been dealing with. And if you've been keeping up with my videos, you know what I'm talking about. It's just the same crazy shit. You know, and today was just really bad. It was just like, I don't know what caused the attack. It was like an unprovoked attack. Y'all, somebody's pulling up by the neighbor. I don't know if there's going to be noise, so just give me a minute. Let me just make sure there will be no noise. It's 4:11. I don't think there's going to be interference, but I'm not sure, y'all. So let me stop the video and I will start back when the neighbor, you know, because I deal with a lot of noise campaigns and gangstalking activity in the neighborhood as well. So let me just stop the video and make sure there's not going to be any interference, and I will start back in a second. Anyways, y'all, I'm back. It seems like that person has driven off and there was some noise. They were beeping. So it's a good thing I stopped the video. Anyways, y'all, like I was saying, I've made about 2 other videos since the last video I created. It's really irritating. I was here quiet the whole time. Now I start the video. I have a family member that came home that's making all this noise. You know, it's like I can't even focus on what I'm trying to say. But anyways, so the last video that I actually posted about the situation was a month ago, as you all can see at the top of my videos, right? It says another targeted individual gangstalking video. That was a month ago, the last time I posted about the situation. There were about 2 other videos that I made that I decided not to post because I'm so over the situation, y'all. The only reason I keep talking about it is because I'm still dealing with stupid shit. They can't get over it. They cannot move on from the thing. You know, it was funny to even said something with the technology, right? Talking about you just don't want to lose when it's them. Everything that they are feeling, they project onto me, their emotions. Like it's some sort of like competition for them, the situation. And they feel like I feel like I'm a victor in the situation. So they need me to know that I lost. It's like some weird kind of immature thing going on with them, right? Anyway, so if you look at the last video from a month ago, right? You can see that it's 2 hours and change long, almost 3 hours long. The reason the video is so long is because I summarize the whole situation from the end of last year to now. You know, everything that started the hardcore gang stalking in the gym. The incident that took place with the guy that I call the main guy. There are plenty of gang stalkers in that gym, but he's the main quote unquote guy because it was the incident between him and I that led to all of the harassment and antagonization that I've been dealing with for this whole year. And I'm sorry I started to stutter, y'all. I'm dealing with noise campaigns in the neighborhood. They will start making animals go off and things like that when I'm making these videos. Anyway, so that's why that video is so long. There are several videos like that, y'all, where I've taken the time to, again, summarize the whole situation. And the only reason I do that is because they keep trying to paint these false narratives about what took place. And so I have to remind them of what took place, even though I know they know full well, right? It's just like this collective perpetuation of a false narrative. Remember, I've talked about this in prior videos. As a target, you're kind of lone, right? You're solo dolo, you're on your own, and they can push these false narratives, and if they all pretend like it's true, that becomes your reality, whether it's true or not. That's just how the thing works, unfortunately. So that's kind of what they were doing with this situation, trying to paint this false narrative with the situation. And so it led to me in several videos, similar to how I have several videos where I've told my whole story, what started my targeting in the first place, not just this little minuscule part of it. Similar to how I have several videos like that, that's kind of what's taking place with this gym thing now. I mentioned in the last video that the reason a lot of my recent videos have been about the gym is because that's where I spend most of my time now. Y'all know what happened with the correction officer job. I don't want to go into details about it. It's something that kind of has been just up in the air type thing, but I don't really talk about it anymore. So recently, real recent, y'all, I had a conversation with a family member who told me she spoke to someone in the Department of Education and they need teachers. And she told me to apply, so I did apply. So we'll see what happens. I'm definitely not getting my hopes up, but at the same time, I'm not being negative about it either. I'm just rolling with it and see what happens. Because this happened 2 years ago, y'all. 2 years ago, same thing. I was told to apply. I got excited. That time I got my hopes up. I was actually called into the school that I used to work at before I tried to relocate off island and had those horrible reactions, and my life kind of changed for the worse, or the targeting changed for the worse. I actually had a whole meeting in the school where I used to teach, and I was so nervous because I was closer to when I had just gotten back on island and I had dealt with all of those traumatic things in the States when the targeting blew up, etc., etc. I was having such a nervous reaction in that meeting, like my body was trembling. And I could tell I made, even, I don't want to talk about certain things in these videos because it's like I get in trouble for making these videos because everyone on island is watching. So even if I mention like one person, that person is watching. So that's awkward, But I can even tell one of the administrators, like the head administrator, the principal, like I think I made him uncomfortable, or I think he thought he was making me uncomfortable. I think he thought he was making me nervous or something. Because eventually during the meeting, he told me first, he said, "Miss Nurse, relax. You're with family. Relax, relax." I remember him telling me to relax. And then after a while, I noticed he kind of just got like this way where he just got up and left the meeting and went in his office during the meeting. So that's never a good sign. But I think I was shaking and so terrified, because I had just walked into the school. And as I was walking in, there was a police car driving by. And, like I said, I had just gotten back on island and all of those traumatic things happened, where they were pushing the false narrative that was created from the text message. And I had all these anxious PTSD reactions when I was in the States. Remember I told you I tried to relocate and I came back to island. And so it was not the same me. Like I was so nervous. I didn't even think I would ever even get an interview in the school after everything that happened. So I was just shaking and trembling, and oh boy, I didn't hear from them again. I did not hear back. So that's pretty much what happened with that. So after that, I kind of just took teaching out of my mind because I'm like, so much has happened. I'm like, I don't know if they'll ever let me teach again. Even though I haven't done anything, it's completely unfair. It's still that I've had these horrible reactions on camera. I've said these offensive things. There's this stigma attached to me now because of what was created with the text message. So whether I did something or not, it's still just this taboo type thing. So I'm like, I don't know if they'll ever let me teach again. So I remember I just started setting my sights on other things. I'm a Capricorn. I'm very determined. I'm ambitious. I'm always going to figure out something. I'm like, there's no way I'm going to let this ruin my life for real. Like, I don't care how detrimental the situation seems. I'm going to figure something out. So I started looking at school and, I'm going to go back to school and I'm going to figure out something else and do a different career. As unfair as it is, I have all this experience with teaching, whatever. I'll find something else to do. That's what I started doing. That's how I even ended up applying to be a corrections officer. I was like, well, what other government jobs are there? Maybe just by some miracle, they'll give me something. And so I remember applying for a correction officer position that I saw. I was just on the website looking for a government job. Anyway, and I don't even know why I thought I would get one, because I couldn't even get a job in the casino. I applied to the casino. I couldn't even get a job in the casino. Prior to the correction officer job, the only job that was giving me any attention aside from my security job was this job all the way on the other end of the island at a different casino, not the casino that didn't hire me. There is a casino that was going to hire me, but they're far out. They are on the other end of the island. And I think they're just so desperate for workers because they're so far away, and not a lot of people want to make that drive, that they were going to give me a chance because I have a really good resume. I graduated with a 3.5 GPA. I have certificates. I have certifications. I have resumes. I have IDs, different stuff. But it's not about that. I'm a target, and like I said, there's a stigma attached to me, and I've said these offensive things, and there are a lot of people that have issues with me. So that's the only thing that employers are seeing at the moment. They're not seeing me or what I can bring to the table. It's not about that anymore. So anyway, really the only job that was giving me attention before the correction officer job was that job out there on the other end of the island, aside from my security job. And I've been doing that security job for years, like I said, before I left island. So that I'm so grateful for. Remember, I told you it's just difficult because it's minimum wage. So it's kind of hard to make that be, sorry, I'm hearing the bird chirping, y'all. It's kind of hard to make that be like a main source of income. It's a good source of supplemental income. And it's a reliable job. It's something you can lean back on. But trying to make it a main source of income as a grown adult, whether you have children or not, it's very difficult. So anyway, that job all the way on the other end of the island was actually offering me a position, and it was another security job, and they were actually paying more than the security company I work for. But I didn't have a car at the time, and you know, with the ride situation and gas and all that, it would have kind of just panned out to be the same thing. So I was just like, okay, I couldn't take it. But I'm like, you know, if I could get a job with the government after everything that's happened, that would be amazing, right? So anyway, the correction officer job did eventually call me. Y'all know what the story is with that. Y'all know what happened. Actually, coincidentally enough, it was literally like a week after the thing with the trainer guy happened, where I finally had the reaction to the things he was doing, unprovoked. And, you know, about a week after that, I had gotten an email from the correction officer job. So it was kind of coincidental, the timing of things. But nonetheless, they did give me an opportunity, and, you know, y'all know the situation and what took place. So anyways, since I've not been working that job, I'm not trying to go off on a tangent. I was supposed to give y'all this update, though. I just wasn't going to, because I did that stupidness before and ended up eating pie, you know, like humble pie or whatever. Because I remember 2 years ago when I had the interview with the school I used to work at, I just thought I had it in the bag. I was like, oh yeah, okay, so I'm going to be teaching again. Like, I just thought I had it because I had the interview. And so I made this big video and this and that, you know, excited, and then whatever happened. So this time I was moving completely different. You know, there was excitement there, like, oh, apply. She said, apply, we need teachers. I'm like, okay, so there is some sort of chance. But at the same time, I'm like, I know what happened last time. I'm not getting my hopes up. I know every day I'm dealing with antagonization, gangstalking, harassment. And as much as I try not to have reactions, I'm still getting in trouble. I'm still being harassed. So it's like, I don't know what's going to happen. I might end up having one of these reactions. And it, you know, I'm just been trying to control myself, really. Anyway, nonetheless, I wasn't going to make a video about it because it's not like a 100% for sure this is happening type thing. It's just like, okay, there's a sliver of hope to feel possibly excited about, but I don't know what's going to happen. So anyway, I'm just telling y'all now, though. I'm updating y'all now because I'm making the video and I'm talking about things. And I know it's a tangent, but my focus is on today, y'all, so I can pull it back to where I left off from. The reason I went off on the tangent about the teaching thing and the fact that I applied again recently, and we'll see what happens, I'll keep you updated, is because I was explaining why I'm in the gym all the time. I mean, I'm already a workout fanatic, and that's something I've gotten back into since the targeting. But I told y'all it's become like a main focus for me during the daytime so that my days are occupied, because I don't work during the daytime right now. I do security at night, and then during the day I go to the gym. That's what I do. That's what I do during the daytime. That's how I make the time pass by. I would have been working out anyways, but it's almost like become this thing, like almost like a profession. Like I'm calling myself an amateur bodybuilder. I'm taking it so serious because it's just a good distraction from what I'm dealing with. Anyway, speaking of distraction, while I'm using that as a distraction, I'm being distracted and harassed. In the place where I'm trying to like find some sort of peace, of course the targeting creeps in there too. It's just so irritating. So anyway, y'all, let me catch my breath. Let me listen to what I said, because even though I was able to rein it back in this time, the little ADD moment I had where I went off on a tangent, I still want to listen back to the video, just so I'm not all over the place, because that's pretty much what happened with the last video that I was going to post about this gym gangstalking thing, because more has happened, and I'm going to touch on it briefly in this video, not just what happened today, but something that happened before too, since the last video I made. But I don't want to be all over the place like I was in the last video that I ended up not posting So let me stop, let me listen to what I said, and then I'm going to come back and finish the video. All right, y'all. So I'm back to finish the video. Just for clarification, when I said the correction officer job emailed me a week after I had that incident with the main trainer guy in the gym, they emailed me back to finish the hiring process. So they had contacted me months prior, and I had done a bunch of steps for the hiring process. I had even gone as far as doing a psychological evaluation and an IQ test, etc. And there was only like one more thing left for me to do. I had to do a physical, and then I would be in the facility working. And it was just like I wasn't hearing from them for months and months and months. I wasn't hearing from them. And, that was what the holdup was. I had to do orientation and I had to do a physical. That was it. Everything else, as far as the hiring process goes, was already done. And so it was just kind of like this thing where I wasn't hearing from them for months. And I think it had everything to do with the targeting and reactions I had, outside of the job. So anyways, hadn't heard from them in months, and then that incident with the guy in the gym happened, and then a week later I got the email from them. So I just wanted to clarify that, because I realized the way that I worded it, you would think I had just heard from them for the first time a week after the incident with the guy from the gym. No, I had heard from them months prior, and I had went through all these different steps for the hiring process, and then it was just kind of like this standstill where it was just like I wasn't hearing anything, and I was contacting, and I was not hearing for months and months on end, and then I heard from them after that, right, like a week after. Anyways, that's kind of, in the grand scheme of things, it's not irrelevant. It's relevant to my life, but it's irrelevant to what I'm talking about right now. I'm just giving y'all a timeline of different things that took place and helping you understand why I'm in the gym all the time during the daytime. Because if I were working like a regular person, then the gym thing would be a small part of my life. I'd be working out in the evening time, and it wouldn't be a main focus in my life. It's not like now where that's mainly what I have going on during the daytime. And so that's where most of the gangstalking takes place. Anyway, back to the story though, y'all. Let's not start the rambling. So anyway, check out that last video though, y'all, if you want to hear the whole story of what took place with me and the guy that I call the main guy, the trainer, last year, at the end of last year, that led to the worsening of the targeting in the gym, because there were little minor, gang stalking things that happened sometimes in that gym prior to what happened with him, but nothing like what started happening after the incident with him occurred, where it was just like straight bullying, antagonization, harassment, stalking, impeding of my workout sometimes, like purposely hopping on machines, I'm about to go on, like just stupid, petty, annoying stuff. All right. So anyways, y'all, I'm going to try to be careful with the things I say, though, because even if what I'm saying is true, I do get penalized for these videos. I get penalized for my reactions, and that's just how it goes, unfortunately. So I'm going to try to, like I said, update y'all on what's happened since that video I made a month ago, while still being careful. You hear the plane flying by? Listen, I don't know if the video's picking up on it. You hear the gang stalking plane flying by? Listen. I know the video picked up on that. And if you've been targeted long enough, you know that they use aircraft on us, right? When you're in the States, they use helicopters. I experienced that too. Remember, I told y'all in 2022, 2 years after my targeting had started, I didn't know I was a target at the time. So I was trying to relocate off of the island where it started, not knowing it would follow me. Remember, I told you I went to the States, and then it blew up, and I dealt with all of these traumatic experiences. When I was in the States, they were using helicopters on me. And I've seen videos with other targets that live in the States that talk about the aircraft they use. They use helicopters and little planes. Here on island, they just use the small planes. I don't have to deal with the helicopters. Recently, they were doing some activity on island where they brought some choppers down. So they did have some helicopters. Then they did use them on me a couple times. Actually, this was literally just like 2 weeks ago. But I don't typically deal with helicopters. I deal with the fire trucks, the ambulances, the police cars, and the little airplane. And really, the ambulance thing actually, y'all, started about a year ago. Because when I first got down, they weren't really using the ambulances like that. They literally started using the ambulances hardcore on me about a year ago. Right around the time when the thing with the dude in the gym started, actually. Anyways, the main thing that they've used on me from the very beginning to now are police cars. And when I got back on island, the little airplane. And the fire truck thing is relatively new too. That's also something they just started within the year using on me. They just used it on me today. But the fire truck thing is not like a consistent thing. It's only on special days they use the fire truck. The airplane and the police cars, that's a consistent in my life. And the ambulances now at this point. Anyways, y'all. So for context, if you want to know, the whole story so that anything that I mentioned now doesn't sound unfamiliar to you, I would recommend that you watch that last video that I posted, because I give a summary of everything that took place between that trainer and I that led to all the gang stalking that I've been dealing with for the last year. Anyways, y'all, so since that last video that I posted, I don't want this video to be too long, but I want to briefly kind of just talk about some of the stuff that amped things up recently. About 2 weeks ago, y'all, I had this random dream about the guy. As a matter of fact, at this point, it was probably like 2.5 weeks ago. Y'all know how time flies, right? It feels like it happened just yesterday. Now, I've been dealing with this situation with this guy for a whole year, like I told you. Not one dream about this man. Not one dream about him. Been dealing with this situation in that gym. The gang stalking and the antagonization, the bullying, the harassment due to whatever took place between him and I. For a whole year, I never had one dream about this man. Not one dream. About 2 weeks ago, all of a sudden, out of nowhere, I have this random dream about him. Now, mind you, prior to me having the dream about him, I actually had a dream about the girl from the correction officer job. Remember, if you've been keeping up with my videos, y'all, and this is where it gets kind of murky, because if you're new to the channel, this is going to sound like foreign info. This is why I always say, please don't start here if you're new to the channel. This is my most recent video. If you start here, you're going to be lost. Because obviously, I'm going to reference things from prior videos that I've talked about, situations, incidents, etc. If you scroll back a few videos, you'll see where I talked about this incident that occurred with a coworker at the correction officer job. Don't really want to go into the details about it right now. I really don't, because they send a lot of stuff with the technology about that too. And I've already talked about that in detail in prior videos. I really don't want to talk about it. And also too, that kind of falls under the umbrella of talking about the job on video, which I said I'm never doing again. So anyways, they sent a dream about her though. That was the first dream I had. It was a strange dream, and it had a lot of sensitization in it, similar to the things they send with the technology. So that's how I know that it was likely dream manipulation. And I've shown y'all videos with a diagram from DARPA, as well as a patent showing you that this technology exists, right? And that's part of the links that's located in the description box and comment section. If you'll recall, at the beginning of the video, I told y'all that there are links in the description box and comment section that link to videos that talk about or share information about the technology utilized on targets. One of the main things that they use on targets is this technology called brain to computer interface. So they have these small little insects, mosquito drones, right? They're drones, but they look like real insects. Check out the links in my description box and comment section, y'all. And with these mosquitoes, they can bite you like a regular mosquito. You wouldn't even know the difference, right? And once you get bit, they actually inject you with the RFID chip. Because I've seen other targets trying to figure out how the injection happens and how they get you microchipped. I even heard one target saying he went to the dentist and he thinks the dentist put an implant in his tooth. And you have to know they would have a way more efficient way of microchipping you. As a target, you're likely paranoid, right? Or have some sort of reserve to you, right? So not all targets are going to the doctor. Not all targets are getting procedures done. So that couldn't be the method. It couldn't be, okay, well, whenever you get a medical procedure, they're going to slide in and, get the person to do whatever. That's not how that works. So they have these things called insect drones, high advanced technology, high science technology, excuse me. I'm hearing loud talking next door, y'all. Sorry. I have a family member, and remember I told y'all the house is very small and the rooms are close together, so it's distracting me. But it's high science technology, y'all. So they have these insect drones, and they look like real insects, but they're drones with microchips, microphones, and cameras on them. This is what they use to surveil you 24/7. But they can also inject you with things, with nano and with the RFID chip. So that's how they inject you. Anyway, so once the chip crosses the blood-brain barrier, because it is so tiny and microscopic that it can cross the blood-brain barrier, it hooks up to your nervous system. And from there, they can actually see your thoughts on a computer screen. It's called brain to computer interface. There's also something called technological telepathy, so they can hear your thoughts in real time. So everything you think, everyone around can hear. I still haven't figured out completely how the technology works. I have patents for the technology. I have a diagram from DARPA showing how the technology works to a certain extent, but there are still elements of it that I don't understand, like how everyone around can hear my thoughts. I don't know if they're using some sort of frequency, with the brain to computer interface, and then there's something called, I'm trying to remember what the name of it is, voice to skull. There's something called voice to skull. It's another one of those direct energy weapons. And I'm trying to figure out if somehow with the voice to skull, they're beaming my thoughts into the heads or the minds of the people around. I know this sounds crazy, y'all. Like some sci-fi shit. Like if I were to listen to this video right now and I didn't know about the targeted individual program and I didn't take the time to check out the links that I keep telling y'all to check out in the description box and comment section, where you can see the patents for the technology, where you can see the diagram from DARPA that displays how this technology works. If I were just this random somebody that came across this video and I chose not to take it serious and I chose not to check out the links, I would think I was listening to the video of somebody that was completely batshit crazy. And that's how it works with targets. A lot of people don't believe us because the things that we're saying is just so astronomically strange and unbelievable. You have some people just would not believe it. You're okay, that's a crazy person. And a lot of people do know about it, by the way. The targeting and the program itself, it's expanding and more people are learning about it. And really, when Obama was in office, that's also something I have a video of, y'all. I have a video of the documents. The what is it called? The Brain Initiative that Obama signed when he was in office, which basically propelled the research and the utilization of the technology. So we're in the technological age now, and they're being more open and forthcoming with it. It's not like years ago where targets were just completely looked at as batshit crazy, unless you were dealing with somebody that knew about the program and, just was keeping quiet about it. A lot of people know now, like regular everyday nobodies know about this thing. So they're being more forthcoming with it. They're even talking about it on TV and news specials about this technology and the transferring of consciousness and the brain to computer interface, et cetera, and the nano, and how the nano is the new future and how it can help, people that are paralyzed walk again. And so they're being more open about it. And so it's not as much gaslighting as before, but you still do deal with a level of gaslighting. And if, like I said, you are somebody that's never heard about this stuff, I know it sounds like craziness. Please check out the links in the description box and comment section. As a matter of fact, I'm going to do one better. I'm going to go to the video where you can see the Brain Initiative, and you can find this info yourself on Google, where you can see the Brain Initiative that Obama signed when he was in office. And also I'm going to go to the video, it's the same video, where you can see the patent for the brain to computer interface technology. I'm going to go to that video. I'm going to play it, a small part of it real quick. And then I'm going to go to the DARPA diagram that shows you the capability of the technology, just so you can know that this really exists. If you're a target, likely you know what I'm saying is true because you've dealt with it firsthand, right? But if you're some regular nobody that just came across my video and you're listening to this stuff, it's going to sound like craziness. But there's a reason I'm delving into that, because I had this weird dream about the guy randomly. And I strongly suspect that it was dream manipulation due to the RFID chip in my brain. And by the way, y'all, RFID is an acronym for radio frequency identifier. So they use frequencies via the technology to send things, and they can send dreams and all kinds of stuff, man. Anyway, so let me go to the video. Hold on. First of all, look at this. Y'all see that thumbnail right there? I'm not going to click on that video, but that's another video. I don't think I included that one in the description box and comment section. But if you have the time, that's another one I would urge you to check out, where I give more info about the technology. You can see it's titled Mind Reading Technology Used on, let me click on it. Used on Targeted Individuals. And you can see I have an actual thumbnail from the news special where they were showing you on TV that this technology exists. You see, it says researchers unveil mind reading tech. Please check that video out. They're being very forthcoming with the info these days. It's not as hush-hush like I said as before. So I would say that's the one blessing that targets of now have, is the fact that they're actually being more forthcoming with the info. And I believe there's a reason why. You know, I've learned a lot of scary stuff. I'm not trying to go too deep into stuff. If you check out the links in the description box and comment section, you'll see a video from Robert Duncan, the DARPA Harvard scientist, who talks about the agenda behind the utilization of the tech. Because apparently there's some sort of new world order, and I'm not being a conspiracy theorist. I'm not making this up. The reputable DARPA Harvard scientist, Robert Duncan, talks about the agenda behind the utilization of the technology. And these are words straight from his lips. You can check the video out. The link is in the description box and comment section. He talks about the New World Order agenda. And they have this sort of brain-to-computer interface transhumanism agenda, where eventually they're wanting to microchip everyone and hook everyone's brain up to this brain-to-computer interface. And it's going to be what they're calling a hive mind, where all the brains will be connected and no one will have privacy. Apparently, that's the agenda. But I try not to dig too deep in that stuff, because I'm a little nobody, and, you know, it's coming across as whistleblower, even though this info is out there already. And the only reason I learned about it is because I'm targeted, and I'm dealing with the technology. So I did research on it, and I just came across the info. It's public info. It's not anything secret that I'm sharing. I learned this when I became a target. When I learned I was a target and I just started doing research, the info's out there. Like I said, they're being more and more forthcoming with the info. So anyway, just know that this stuff exists, y'all. So if I'm telling you I feel like a dream was sent, it's possible. Anyway, so let me go ahead. That's another video to check out, by the way, y'all. Evidence of mind control technology, where I share more info. And you have another target talking about his experience with dream manipulation. So check that video out, too. Anyway, let me hurry up, y'all. So first of all, this is the video y'all can see that says diagram of neuromonitoring effects from 2 years ago. I posted this a while ago. And you can see the thumbnail of the drawing of the female with little lines that lead to different captions talking about the capability of the technology. I'm going to click on that in a second. I'm going down to the video that contains the patent for the technology, the patent that you can easily find on Google, and also the documents that Obama signed when he was in office, the brain-to-computer brain initiative documents. Here it is. So you see the video that says patent for synthetic telepathy, and there's a link to this video in the description box and comment section, y'all, of this video you're watching right now. So you don't have to scroll all the way down to find this video. Like I said, if you check out the links in the description box and comment section, I have links to several videos sharing info about this technology. I noticed one of the videos got taken down, actually. It was a video from the military talking about the drones. I noticed that video got taken down. But you can look it up yourself and learn info about these drones. And then there's also a link to an article that talks about the drones. And in that article, you can see a new special that talks about the drones. So check out the links, y'all. Anyway, let me click on this video real quick, just so you can hear the beginning part. Hello, welcome back to my channel. If you're new to my channel, welcome. Please check out my How I Became a Targeted Individual summary and or How I Became a Targeted Individual full story. This is not going to be a long video, guys. I literally just got on TikTok. I'm considering possibly posting content on there. I'm not sure yet. Right now, I'm sticking to YouTube. But I did hear that a lot of targets are on TikTok. So I went over there just to explore. And of course, I looked at Michael Barden. You know, I'm a big fan of his. And I found that he had a recent video where he showed the patents for the mind control technology that is used on targets. So if you checked out my prior videos, let me go there really quickly. You'll see that in the thought manipulation documentation video. I believe in that one. No, it wasn't that one. It was this one. The targeted individuals are victims of mind control. and you see the thumbnail that says Mind Control MK Ultra. And that one I shared a clip of Michael Barden's video where he's talking about this technology that they have patents for, where they can literally push thoughts into your brain. Y'all see that video there that says RFID and nanobots injected into targets? Y'all can see that this is in the video that I just clicked on. I took that down. There are several videos I had sharing information that I took down because I started getting backlash for it. You know, even though I'm not a whistleblower and this is public info, it's still not something that everybody knows about. And my targeting is viral, as I've told y'all, so a lot of people are watching me. They already know about this stuff. Like I said, they're being more forthcoming with the info. But I still was getting a lot of backlash for some of the stuff I was sharing, so I took some of these videos down. I actually had a video dedicated to those drones. As you guys can see. You see the title? It says RFID and nanobots injected into targeted individuals. And you see the thumbnail of the insect drones, the mosquito drones. But anyway, let me continue playing the video. Voices if they wanted. It's scary. But then also there was another video I shared it in. I think in this RFID and nanobots injected into targets video, I believe in this video as well, I shared the clip of Michael Barden's video where he's talking about the patented technology used on targets. Well, now he actually has a screenshot of the patent. So I'm going to go ahead and show you guys. It's on his TikTok. So this is his TikTok. Go ahead and follow. Oh, y'all, take the time to follow Michael Barden if you don't already, because I learned a lot of the info that I know now from him. I did not learn about the insect drones from him. Surprisingly enough, he never talks about that. He's one of those that doesn't even seem to know. I tried to put the info under his videos that doesn't even seem to know how they get the RFID chip in you. So I was surprised because he knows so much info, but he didn't seem to know about that. But he's just talking about the tech itself, so not necessarily how it's injected or the insect drones, but he talks about the technology and what happens once it is injected. And so this is what he's sharing here on his TikTok. You're going to see, like I said, the brain initiative that Obama signed when he was in office, and you're also going to see the patent for the brain to computer interface technology. And this is how they track you too, by the way, because once the RFID chip is in you, that's what's so scary about it. They can track you via satellite. So there are satellites out in space. Just look at Elon Musk and the Neuralink that he talks about. It's pretty much the same technology. They can track you via these satellites. So it's some scary stuff, man.
Synthetic telepathy. Thoughts that are put into an individual's head without their consent. That's crazy. Who would do that? Well, we can start with DARPA, IARPA.
Oh, great. So I don't even have to go to that video with the diagram from DARPA. Look, Michael Barden has it in this video. Good. So let me, while it's on the screen, I paused it. I just want y'all to pay attention to the upper right-hand corner, the second caption. You see it says, vivid, controlled dreams. Understand that this is a diagram from DARPA, the creators and the progenitors of the technology. So understand that on their diagram, where they're describing what the technology can do, they have something that says vivid. You see it there? Vivid, controlled dreams. I'm zooming in, but I don't know if the video is going to pick up on me zooming in. I don't know. But it's in the upper right-hand corner, the second tick, the second caption, vivid, controlled dreams. So they can send you dreams. They can, as Michael Barden said at the beginning of the video, push thoughts into your head. All kinds of stuff with this technology, y'all. All right? And I have another video, too, where I showed another document that was describing what this technology can do more in detail as far as the dreams go. But I'm not about to go to that video either. And I just, for time's sake, this is enough. This is more than enough.
National Institute of Health, the CIA. This is a document from a fusion center released accidentally in a Freedom of Information Act. This is a book called Project Soulcatcher, written by a guy named Dr. Robert Duncan, who just happened to work for the CIA, DARPA, etc., etc. I mean, you ever heard of the BRAIN Initiative signed by President Obama? Check it out. You can look this up easily. So yeah, they've experimented with this technology on people that never gave their consent. Did I mention there's a U.S. patent for this technology? And it's right here. First patented in 2003. Now, you heard me mention the National Institute of Health. This right here is Christine Grady. She just happens to be the head of human experimentation for the National Institute of Health, who happens to be married to Dr. Anthony Fauci. Imagine that. Synthetic telepathy.
So guys, this is a real thing. There are patents for this technology, so don't ever allow yourself to be gaslit into thinking that whatever you feel is happening if you're a target isn't happening. There are actual patents for this technology. And like I said, if you check out hold on, let me go there right now. I don't want to stay on here too long. Anyway, y'all, that's enough of that, right? So just showing you that so you can understand, right? When I tell you it's strange that I had a dream about this guy, and the incident has been ongoing for a whole year, never had a dream about the guy. Before the incident started, I was seeing him every damn day in the gym. Never had a dream about the guy. Then all of a sudden, randomly, like I said, about 2 weeks ago, I had this random dream about him. Vivid, very vivid dream. And again, pushing, certain false narratives about the situation. But it was also the timing too, because remember I told you a few days prior, I also had this very vivid dream about the girl from my job. And there was sensitization in the dream, similar to what they send with the technology. So I was just like, suspicious. Again, I don't want to bear false witness, because this is part of mainly why this is what they're hinting to me, that I'm dealing with what I'm dealing with because I bear false witness. If you listen to my full story, that's also linked in the description box and comment section. You'll hear what I mean when I say bearing false witness. No, I'm not going around intentionally lying on people. Actually, if you listen to my story, you'll hear that I actually only technically bared false witness one time. And it was years ago with this guy that I was talking to, right? In the recent situations, even the text message I sent that created the targeting, I didn't bear false witness. I made insinuations. I didn't bear false witness. Insinuating something and bearing false witness, although in the same, I would say, word family, they're not synonymous and they're not the same thing. You can insinuate something without lying on someone. Bearing false witness is you making an assumption that something's going on and you definitively saying that something's happening that you're not sure is happening or not. And so you're bearing false witness. That's different to insinuating something. Like, I think this might be going on. Here's why I think so. But I don't know. It's not the same thing. Anyway, so they're making it like I bear false witness on people. And if you hear the reasons why I made insinuations, you'll understand where I'm coming from. Like, you can see it's not like Delulu crazy paranoid shit. It's reasonable things that I suspected. If you listen to my story, you'll hear about it. But I've apologized, y'all. And it still doesn't make sense for me to be punished to this extent and this level over even, let's say I was bearing false witness. No, it doesn't make sense. This severe of a punishment. And you can't say it's because I said offensive stuff in reaction to being antagonized, harassed, and stalked, and I hadn't done anything. That was reactive abuse. And I've apologized for those reactions 1,000,000 times. And there are people out there who have said worse and done worse physically who aren't suffering the way that I am. So that doesn't make sense either. So anyways, y'all, nonetheless, so I had this weird dream, right? Let me get back to the point about the guy about 2 weeks ago. Let's get back to the point now, because I don't want the video to be too long and I don't want it to be all over the place. Random dream. And in the dream, it was just weird. All of a sudden, him and I were just packing up super fast. Like, we're packing up suitcases and stuff. And it's just understood. It's not like I was given a choice. Like, he asked me, hey, you want my help? Like, no, it was just like the dream started. And we're packing up shit and we're packing up bags. And he's supposed to be helping me skip town. Like, he's supposed to be on my side and he's helping me get out of town. This is how the dream was going, right? So I'm not even questioning the fact that it's this dude, right? And it's like, what? To me, it was happening. One of them kind of dreams where it just starts and shit is happening and you're just going with the flow. Like, that's what was happening. We're just packing up bags and stuff and trying to get ready to get up out of there. And out of nowhere, his girlfriend busts through the door. Now, mind you, my sister was in the dream. Both of my sisters, I don't know what the heck they were doing in there. And my mom was in the dream, right? So while he's helping me pack, my nephew, one of my nephews was just playing on the couch, and I remember pinching up his chubby cheeks and kissing his cheeks, which is crazy because if you know about the the narrative that was created from the text and everything that's taking place with the targeting, it's kind of odd that they would be there while he's helping me skip town. So that's already contradictory, right? But I'm like, okay, I'm not putting that together. The dream is just happening. It's like I'm kind of like a bystander, although I'm taking a direct role in things. It's just one of those type of dreams. So anyways, after I kiss up my nephew's cheek and stuff, we continue packing and stuff, and he's supposed to be helping me get out of there. all of a sudden his girlfriend busts through the door. So she's like livid. She busts through the door and she's like ready to beat my ass, right? She's coming through ready to fight. And so I'm like, wait a minute. I said, is this a setup? I remember in the dream asking, is this a setup? Because I didn't understand how it is. You're here trying to help me pack my bags to get the hell out of town. And then your girlfriend, and it's like just then as she walks through the door, it's like this epiphany or this reminder that he had a girlfriend. Because before she came through the door in the dream, it wasn't like, I didn't even remember her. It was just more like, he's helping me pack my shit and we're getting out of town. Like he's helping me to skip town. It was just a weird ass dream, y'all. It was weird. So anyway, she busts through the door now and she's like livid. Like she ready to fight me. You know, she had these 2 sharp rat tooth combs in her. You know how a rat tooth comb is, right? Where the tail is like super sharp. You can stab somebody with that and do some damage if you stab them in the right area. She coming at me with the combs and stuff. And so I remember seeing my mom in the background and my mom was kind of like clutching her chest. And so I remembered this fight that my sister and I had, my younger sister, about 2 years ago when she had first gotten back on island and she was going through a lot of drama and stuff with her ex-boyfriend. And you know, she was very on edge and like fighting about everything. And this stupid incident that took place in the line when we were at a fast food restaurant and she started like going back and forth with me like she wanted to fight. And we eventually ended up getting into a physical altercation. And my mom tried to pull us apart and, you know, there was no stopping it. And so eventually my mom, similar to what was happening in the dream, she kind of just like held her chest and then passed out. And so I saw that and it just kind of was like a flashback to what happened that time and how scary it was. And so I remember just begging the girl. I said, listen, I said, look at my mom. I said, she's back to holding her chest. I said, please. I said, I don't want him. I said, I don't want him. I said, please. And when I said that, she put her hands down. So she had her hands squeezed in the comb and she's coming at me like she's going to fight me. And when I said, please, my mom's back there. I said, I don't even want him. I said, please, I don't even want him. She put her hands down. And then it was so weird. I woke up from the dream. I was like, what kind of dream was that? I'm like, I hope I passed. Because I don't know if they were trying to see if I was going to fight his girlfriend in the dream or what the case was with that dream. I don't know what they were expecting to see. Because if it were a physical fight for real, first of all, I'm never fighting over a man. Anybody that knows me knows I've always said that. You can ask my sisters. You can ask dudes I've talked to in the past. I'm never fighting over a man. I'm not fighting another female for a dude. Now, if you're my boyfriend, right, and I see that you're in a life and death situation and you need some, like, help, it's a situation where you're trying to fight for your life and you need help, then yeah, I'm gonna hop on and help you. But, like, a situation where there's another female involved and we're fighting over you, are you dumb? I'm not fighting over no dude. Especially if I feel like you obviously didn't care enough about me that there's another female involved. I'm not breaking a nail over you. So that's my mentality. I'm never fighting over a dude. I will fight for you if we're together and I see that your life is in jeopardy. I'm not fighting over you. So anyways, that's never going to happen, even if I like you. Not just for the fact that I don't care for the dude like that. No disrespect. I'm not trying to sound like a bitch. I don't have a problem with him. I don't want it. You know how they keep saying the I don't want it thing to me? I don't want it. It's as clear as day with everything that's happened. It's as clear as day. From them bringing his girlfriend around me to get a reaction and me not having one. To the point where they got so freaking desperate to get a reaction. I don't want to say desperate because now that's going to sound like I'm agitating things and then more drama in the gym. But they so bad wanted to egg a reaction out of me. They made his friends diss me in the back room. If you listen to the video, the last video, you'll hear the whole thing. And that was when they finally got a reaction. And I still didn't even come for the girl. I said a compliment to her, actually, in my video. I didn't actually start doing petty stuff to her until she did something first. And it wasn't even really petty stuff that I still didn't insult the girl. I just started chuckling whenever she would come in the gym. I just like this little chuckle. So anyways, nonetheless, I think it's pretty obvious with the things that's happened that I don't like him like that. It's not, you know, I don't know what more they need to see to understand that. So nonetheless, it seems like some sort of damage control. Now they're trying to clean up what happened, you know, and trying to make it like, oh, this is about the white people thing or this is about that. You know, it's just a weird thing they're doing now. That had nothing to do with it. Because for the whole year, he wasn't doing that stuff. I made that video about my grandfather, the video that created whatever, right? That made the Italian guy start coming to the gym at the end of last year. I made that video May of last year, months prior. So I don't know why me playing it then created something when I made the video didn't create something. I don't really understand it. But nonetheless, he still hadn't started doing the crazy stuff. Him and the Italian guy were in the gym at the same time. He didn't start doing the crazy extra stuff he was doing until that dude's name started taking in my head. That was when he started doing the extra stuff. That was literally when it started. They keep trying to make it like it's about white people or it's about this. Like every time they're doing the petty stuff in the gym, that I'm like, why are you doing this? Then when I'm leaving, a white person will be coming in the gym. You know, trying to create stuff. Because remember, if you listen to my story, you'll hear that I shared offensive Hebrew Israelite propaganda in my car in Florida. This was when I tried to relocate off island in 2022. And the targeting went viral. And I dealt with a lot of racially charged incidents in Indiana. And so when I got back down to Florida, before I got back to the island that I tried to relocate off of, I was living in my car for about a month. And a lot of gang stalking activity was taking place. Harassment, antagonization, etc. And eventually I just turned to God because that's the way I was raised. Start reading my Bible and looking up, at the time that was my belief system, to be Hebrew. All of us were. That's how we were raised in this house from high school, at least from when I was in high school up until that point. It was just that my dad came home and you know how it is when you live in a family with parents and they come home and they teach you something and then that's just how it works. So anyway, up until that point, I was Hebrew. That was my understanding of my belief system. And so those are the videos I was looking up. I was just looking up Hebrew videos on how to get spiritual protection. I wasn't looking up offensive Hebrew videos. Excuse me. I get nervous when I talk about this, y'all, because this is one of the main things that made the targeting just go boom and made things get really bad for me. Anyway, so, initially I was just looking at regular Hebrew videos. Y'all, I know it sounds crazy that I'm going to pause here at this controversial part, but I'm just noticing I'm having shortness of breath, and it's because I'm full of food. I'm doing intermittent fasting, y'all. I know this is a tangent, but it's relevant to what I'm about to say. I've changed up my diet. I'm eating healthier. I'm doing intermittent fasting, and I try to do an 18-hour fast. So I try to eat from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. As you can see at the top, it's 5:26. So I missed the mark today. But I would like to at least get close. So I still need to eat dinner, and I still need to eat. My alarm actually went off a few minutes ago, and I just quickly took it off. I still need to eat dinner, and I still need to drink another protein shake. So I'm going to stop here, do that, let the food digest so I'm not sounding like I'm out of breath, and then I'm going to come and finish the video, y'all. Anyways, y'all, it's hours later, so I'm not feeling like a stuffed animal anymore, right? I feel like I can breathe a little bit better. I'm sitting up. All right, so let me finish what I was saying, though, y'all. I'm not really trying to go into too many details, about the offensive content that I shared in my car in 2022 when I tried to relocate off island. Remember I told you all I lived on island for 2 years. So graduated from college, moved back home in 2020. The targeting started that summer of 2020, after I sent a text message that was taken out of context. You'll have to listen to my full story to hear the story, y'all. Anyway, so for 2 years, I was dealing with targeting. Remember I told you all that I was teaching and I was doing security at night. And I was, at a certain point, living out of my car due to the targeting. I didn't know I was a target, though. I even had an apartment at one point in time. But the targeting had started amping up so bad that I didn't even feel comfortable in the apartment. Anyways, y'all, so for 2 years I dealt with targeting, and it just kept getting worse rather than better. And I had even gotten into 2 car accidents, right, before I left island. So I packed up my stuff and tried to relocate. That was when I resigned from the jobs that I was working. And I tried to relocate. I did research. I tried to find a state that had a high employment rate, low cost of living, etc., etc. Didn't know I was a target at the time. I actually did not learn that I was a target until I got back to this island in that same year. I came back to the island at the end of 2022. So I packed up and tried to relocate summer of 2022. Things blew up. Like I said, reactions happened. Eventually it got so bad I was living in my car in Florida for a month or two. That was where I shared the offensive Hebrew Israelite propaganda. And that was in reaction to gang stalking and antagonization over the course of a few months. So anyway, all of that took place. Ended up coming back to the island at the end of 2022, doing my research, because I realized whatever it was that was taking place on island had followed me. So I'm like, okay, this is some serious shit I'm in. And the targeting was way worse in the States, especially in Florida. So at that point, I was like, no, this is some weird whatever this is, I've never heard of anything like this in my life. And so as I started doing research, I just typed in people being stalked by groups of people, and the term gang stalking popped up. And obviously that's a targeted individual term. That's like targeted jargon. So from there, I just followed that link and just started seeing more and more videos about gang stalking, targeted individual, theater, this, that, the third. And at that point, I learned I was a target. So it took 2 years, y'all, and me relocating from the location where the targeting started for me to learn that I was a target. Anyway, so back to the point though, y'all. During those few months when I was in the States, like I told y'all, eventually it led to me living in my car in Florida. I shared some offensive Hebrew Israelite propaganda. There's like different ideologies out there. You know how they have different denominations of Christianity and different denominations of different religions and belief systems? It's the same thing with being Hebrew. You have different ideologies out there attached to that understanding or that belief system. And so there is an offensive ideology out there about white people in that belief system. Not all Hebrews believe it, but there are ones that do, and it is a common theme in that belief system. I'm just being honest. The info is out there. There's nothing I can do about it. I'm just being honest. So anyway, I dealt with a lot of racially charged theater in Indiana. Actually, that was where the targeting blew up. Really, it started with what happened on the Greyhound bus when I realized that the targeting followed me. It was in the Tennessee Greyhound station. Something took place. If you listen to my full story, y'all will hear it. I'm not going to sit here and fall into the trap of telling my story again. And then the video's like 5 hours long. But basically, that was where the targeting first went viral. It was at the Greyhound station in Tennessee, like literally right before I got to my destination, Indiana. I often wonder what would have happened had I not had that reaction on the bus in Indiana. Obviously, the targeting had followed me. But if it had never gone viral, what would have happened? What would be my life right now? Would it have just dwindled away, and would they have let me go? Or would I still be being targeted? Would they have been doing petty little things that led to different bad reactions, and it would have been the same outcome, just a different version of the same outcome? I often wonder. Anyway, so nonetheless, y'all, I realized that the thing had followed me at the Greyhound station in Tennessee. And if you listen to my story, you'll hear how. I'm not going to repeat the whole thing. I had a stupid reaction on the Greyhound bus. I didn't physically harm anyone. I didn't even say anything offensive. It was really just moving in this scornful manner. Like everyone was disgusting, and like I'm taking the Lysol. Now, mind you, this was post-COVID quarantine. This was right when you hear what I'm telling you, this was 2022. This was right when they had lifted the quarantine. I graduated from college in 2020. But you know what was going on with COVID. It was a quarantine and stuff. I didn't walk until 2022. Summer of 2022, actually. Like shortly before I decided to relocate off island. I had traveled up for graduation. So this was all during COVID, y'all. So when this thing happened where I tried to relocate that same summer, COVID was still a thing. You know, they had just lifted the quarantine. I'm paranoid. If you listen to my videos, you will have heard me say I'm a germaphobe and I'm a hypochondriac, which seems kind of contradictory with the state of the house that I live in. But I mean, this is not a normal occurrence for us. Most of the people in the house at the moment are depressed. Nobody's really trying. It's a small, cramped, old house that's been around for decades. It was my grandfather and grandmother's house. They're no longer here living, right? So anyways, the house is in a mess, and that's something they throw into targeting too. It's not a mess like what you think. I've seen worse, trust me. But it's still like, it's not what it should be. It gets messy sometimes, and not messy the way you think. I can't really even explain it to you all. But anyway, nonetheless, with that being the case, I am a germaphobe and a hypochondriac. This is why, to antagonize me in my specific targeting, oftentimes they'll send sensitization about diseases and stuff to freak me out. Like they'll send stuff about ALS or HIV. I rebuke all of that in the name of the Most High. And I'm not judging anyone if they have that. You know, I'm not trying to come across as insensitive. I'm sorry if that sounds insensitive, me saying that. I'm just saying I don't want to claim any illness over my life, right? But these are the things they do. They send like stuff about diseases or brain-eating amoebas. You know, like if you swim in fresh water, you know, the brain-eating amoeba get up your nose, and they start sending me videos about tap water, and if you bathe in tap water, you know, like the story about this lady that was using the tap water as a neti pot. And she was at a camping ground, by the way, y'all. It's not like it was regular tap water, because typically they treat tap water to prevent things like that. Anyway, she got some brain-eating amoeba. Anyway, so I'm not trying to go off on a tangent, but these are the things they do. They'll even send me stuff about diseases because they know I'm a hypochondriac. So this is post-COVID. I lost my favorite author to COVID. So you have to understand there was a level of paranoia there. Even as healthy as I am, and I've had COVID twice, by the way, I still had this kind of fear attached to me when it came to COVID. Because I even lost my favorite author. Her name was Adrienne Bird to COVID. She's one of those romance novel writers. Like, I like to read romance novels and stuff. I read a lot. I used to, at least. I don't anymore now that they're listening to my thoughts. It's really awkward. And I start to stammer on my words. It's this weird thing where they try to make it seem like I can't read, which is crazy because if I show you my Kindle, it's full of books. But it's just this weird thing where because they're listening to my thoughts, it's like I can't explain what happens. It's like my brain has trouble processing words and I have to take my time and read it slowly. And if I don't, then I might stammer over the word and mess up on the word. And then I'll come back and get the word after. And I'm like, wait a minute, I know this word. Like, that just happened to me the other night. I forget what the word was. It was a simple word. It was underneath this video that already had made me nervous, right? It was this military video where they were supposed to be going out to war or whatever, and apparently some people had died in the video, and just one of those weird videos they like to send. You know how they do with the technology. That's another form of technology they use, by the way, y'all, that you can find in the description box and comment section. It's called shadow networking. I've talked about it in prior videos, where they hack all your technological devices, and not only are they surveilling what's going on your phone, but they can actually manipulate the technology. It's some high science stuff, y'all. We are in the technological age. They can send videos with sensitization. They can change already made videos with the AI, make it look like people are saying shit they're not saying, wearing shit they're not wearing. It's just some really creepy, gnarly stuff. Anyway, so they had sent me this military video, and the guy was giving this like really deep speech about whatever, you know, and it just had me shook. I don't know why. It was something he said that was triggering. Anyway, so I went to the comment section to read the comments, and there was this word. It wasn't even that complicated of a word. And I had trouble reading it. And I remember it just like immediately they started sending stupidness with the technology about not being able to read. And so I remember it bothering me all night. And I thought back to the word. And I'm like, wait a minute, I know that word. And when I went back, I read the word clearly. But that keeps happening. It's just this weird thing where they're listening to your thoughts and being extra critical and trying to bully and trying to create these false narratives. And they know I was an English teacher too. So there's this level of discrediting and trying to make me appear in a certain way. So and it's weird too because they contradict themselves all the time. One minute they're sending certain things about me, and then the next minute they're sending other contradictory things about me as far as my intellect goes. It's weird what they do. But it's psychological warfare anyway. So it's meant to degrade and intimidate and make you question yourself and low self-esteem. This is how it's designed. It's psychological warfare. Anyway, so nonetheless, I went off on a tangent. That's why I don't really read like that anymore. I don't even read the Bible. I wanted to start reading that again. I'm traumatized from what happened to me in my car in Florida, where I shared the offensive stuff. I'm going to get back to that, y'all. I know I went off on a tangent. And just all the other stuff that I used to like to read, it just feels weird. I mean, it's not just the element of, okay, I feel like I'm going to stammer over certain words because they're listening. And so it's like my brain is moving slow and I feel like I have to. Then it's also the element of just feeling uncomfortable. Like it's story time and like everything I'm reading, it's like I'm reading to the whole island. It's just weird. It's odd and weird. And they purposely will make noise campaigns look them barking the dog in the background because they know they do this. You hear them revving? They'll purposely make noise campaigns in the background when I'm trying to read my books and stuff. Like, can you imagine reading a romance novel and you have people listening and then doing rev campaign for certain parts of the book? It's just odd. So anyway, yeah, I didn't mean to go off on a tangent. So nonetheless, I lost my favorite author to COVID. So there's an element of fear there, even though I had it before and I fared well with it. So I did have Lysol with me. But I wasn't acting like a scornful bitch. I was just being myself and sanitizing everything. But again, it was contained and it wasn't like me being this scornful, mean bitch. That really didn't take place until the Tennessee Greyhound station when I realized that the targeting had followed me. And again, at that time, I didn't know I was a target. But I knew something weird was going on island. Hence the reason I tried to relocate. I had a good job. I quit my teaching job. I had been there for 2 years. My foot was more than in the door at that point. I resigned from that and I left. And, you know, I thought I could start over because I had a good resume. I've never been in trouble before. I'm like, okay, they're just doing some spiteful thing here on island. That's what I thought in my head because I sent the text message. It just felt like it was a big joke. It's what I felt like. I'm like, okay, if I try to relocate, I'll be fine. And so when I got to the Tennessee Greyhound station, at that point, I had rode several connecting buses. You know, I came from Florida. I rode the bus all the way up from Florida. And the reason I did that was because the flight from Florida to Indiana was super expensive. It would have been like half of my savings. So like, what cheap route can I take? And I chose to take, I was actually going to try to get a rental. I was having a hard time getting one in Florida, so I decided I would get it in Indiana. Big mistake. Chose to ride the Greyhound bus, and that was what happened in Tennessee. They didn't really reveal that they were following me until Tennessee. This weird incident in the Greyhound station happened. Again, listen to my story if you want to hear the details. And I was like, oh shit, this didn't follow me. I started moving paranoid. Instantly. I know they have the recordings. You know they have recordings of you. Like I told y'all, with these insect drones, the insect drones have cameras and microphones. So you're being surveilled 24/7, but not just that. There's a live feed that they project to the people around you. In my case, it's the whole island. It's a weird thing with me. I have a weird, unique targeting. But then they also record certain things, and they'll use those recordings to propel the targeting. So it's like this forever moment that's captured that they can share with people of you having these nasty reactions, and they can paint that as your character. And then you have to deal with people that have these preconceived notions of who you are. That's just how it works. It's a really shitty program and situation to be in. Anyway, so nonetheless, so at the Tennessee Greyhound station, I realized the thing had followed me. And so when I got on the bus, I was really amped up with the hypochondria and with the OCD and the spraying of the lights. I was just acting like a bitch. I was acting scornful. I sat next to this guy. He wasn't homeless. You could tell he was a regular dude. I kept squinching up in the seat like I didn't want him to touch me and spraying my legs. And then there was a homeless guy sitting in the seat. Remember, this is a bus. So you have your left side and your right side, and then you have the middle part between the two seats where you can walk up and down the aisle. There was this homeless guy sitting in the seats to the right. I was on the seats to the left. He was white. It had nothing to do with race and everything to do with targeting and feeling like I was being watched. Anyway, he kept coughing and looking over at me. I think he knew who I was, but I think it was low-key. It wasn't viral yet. So I think they were pinging out to certain people, like maybe the people in close proximity of me. Maybe some sort of like however they do it. However they contact people around where, you know how wherever you go, it seems like everyone knows, or it depends on how high level your targeting is. Like when my thing was lower level, I feel like it was just certain people in the area that knew. When it gets to the level that it's at now, mine is at now, they'll let everyone in the area know. Somehow they send out something to their phone or whatever, however the shit works. And they know that you're targeted. They know who you are. So anyway, the guy kept looking up at me and coughing. And so I just was, it was just pissing me off. And I was feeling paranoid at the time. And so I just started acting real bitchy and spraying. Every time he would cough, I'm spraying the Lysol and just being a bitch. And he was barefoot. His feet was hanging over the seat. I just kept spraying the Lysol and acting like, this kind of way. And then I could tell it wasn't even COVID with him, because he even had like pills in his shirt. He had like a pocket on his shirt, and he kept taking out the pills and shaking it. I guess he wanted me to know that it wasn't COVID, because I was acting like a bitch with the spray, but I knew it wasn't COVID. I was just being a bitch because I felt like he was coughing in like reference to me, like in this kind of way, like the way he was coughing and looking over at me. It was just paranoia, y'all, because I had just had this weird thing happen in the station before I got on the bus. Again, I didn't want to repeat it because it's kind of like I'm telling the story again, but it was something with this Rasta dude where he walked by and I heard the bird chirping sound that they use on targets. Bird drones, another form of technology. I noticed on island before I left island, again, I didn't know I was a target and I didn't know about the technology. But one thing I did realize was that somehow they were using this weird bird chirping sound. I didn't even know it was the birds on the power line. I thought it was some weird sound they had hooked up to somebody's car or something. I didn't know at the time. And so I just knew one thing for sure was certain, that they were using bird sounds on me before I left island. I'm in a Tennessee Greyhound station. This is how carefree I was. I even nodded off on top of my suitcase. I had been there for hours. There was like several layovers. That's another reason why I would not recommend the Greyhound. Apparently they're in desperate need of drivers. And so a lot of buses come late. And if one bus comes late, then and you have a connecting bus, you're screwed. Because then you miss the connecting bus and then you're sitting there all day waiting for the next bus. And that's kind of what happened to me. So I was exhausted and I had just ate a burger. And I was sitting on my suitcase in the station. And it was hours and hours before the next bus was supposed to come. So I was so tired, I nodded off. And that's to tell you how comfortable I was. There was security everywhere. I didn't really feel... I'm a very alert person and I'm not really that kind of footloose type. I'm very observant and I am, I'm keen. I'm aware of my surroundings. But I was so exhausted and I felt kind of safe. That's to tell you I didn't even realize the thing had followed me. I kind of nodded off on my suitcase. And when I came to, shortly after I came to, obviously this dude was watching me, Gangstalker. This heavyset Rasta dude with this weird sweater. He had like the Freemason symbol on the back of his sweater. He walked by me and he watched me in this predatorial way. I always describe it as like how, because when I was telling my family members about it, they're like, oh, maybe he was just checking you out. Gaslighting. I don't want to create problems. But you know when a dude is checking you out. Even those dudes that were being disingenuous, those little small handful of dudes that were doing the thing looking me in my eyes when I had first started working out in the gym. Even those dudes, the way they were looking at me was not as... Hold on, y'all. Let this thing drive by. The way they were looking at me was not as predatorial. It was more so like just like this carefree, funny thing, like you trying to get my attention thing. It wasn't like this dude in this Greyhound station. The way he looked at me, I keep trying to describe the look, is like, I would say the look that maybe a lion would give a gazelle before it tears it up. Like, that's the kind of look he gave me. It's like he had this scary kind of smirk on his face, but his eyes, like, I don't know, it was just scary the way he looked at me. But anyway, he walks by and I heard the bird chirping sound. So obviously he had a bird drone in his bag. But the way he looked at me and the way I heard the bird, and then I checked the weird symbol on the back of his sweater. I was like, wait a minute, this thing followed me. And I had no idea, I didn't connect the Freemason thing to the programming or anything. I didn't learn any of that stuff until I got back on island. And I started doing research, and some targets were saying that there's some sort of Freemason element to the targeting. Like a lot of, it's a government program. So you have to understand, it's complicated. I don't want to go into the details of what I learned because they started to harangue and harass me about it and create false narratives with that. So let me please not start opening that can of worms again. I didn't learn that until I started learning about the targeting. And I started seeing videos with some targets talking about that. And then I recalled what I saw on that dude's shirt, on his sweater. So anyway, just understand it's a government program. And the Freemason program is a government program, just so you know. It's like this, it's not completely like a secret society per se. I've done research to where I learned that there are elements to it that, could kind of be like a secret society, but it's really just a government program. Martin Luther King was a Freemason. So you have a lot of genuine good people that are Freemasons, and then you have some scary stigma attached to the society and the organization. And I can't say what's true from what's not. I'm not a Mason myself, so I don't really know. I don't know anything about it. But anyways, I do realize that there is some sort of element with that. I don't think it's like they're in charge of the targeted individual program. Of course not. I told you Obama signed the Brain Initiative. So this is a lot bigger. It's like underneath the umbrella of government in general. And no, I'm not anti-government at all. Not at all. I'm just telling you what I saw. I'm explaining to you what I saw and what made me realize the thing followed me. And I just recall that his sweater had that on it. And so it reminded me of when I was doing the research and I saw some stuff about Freemasons. Anyway, nonetheless, and they were just with the craziness, started creating false narratives like I'm the Freemason. When I'm the one suffering and being tortured, you're the one who contacted these people. Like, I have no communication with them. Like, it's just madness to me. But I realized they've been pulling my chain for years and fucking with me and pushing these false narratives at me because of things I've said. Anyway, nonetheless, I'm not trying to go off on a tangent, y'all, before the video ends up being like 5 hours long. So I sat on the Rasta dude thing and I heard mainly the bird chirping sound and the way he looked at me. And so I was like, oh my God, this thing followed me. And so when I went onto the bus, I was just acting like a scornful bitch. I was spraying the Lysol every time the dude would cough, the homeless guy. I'm spraying the Lysol, and they took that little recording and the thing went viral. After that, I noticed the bus ride just got real tense. It's like everyone on the bus was active. Everyone had access to the cameras and they started doing some real weird stuff, all of them, gangstalking stuff. It was an extremely uncomfortable ride. It felt like forever before I got to Indiana. And then when I got to Indiana, the targeting was viral. You could tell like instantly that moment on the bus created a chain reaction and the targeting went viral. So that was before it took a racial turn. And then when I got to Indiana, certain things happened. Again, listen to my story because I'm falling into the trap of telling the story again. Some racially charged things happened. Then there was an incident with a police officer and they started using theater on me, specifically racially charged theater. I had an incident near a cornfield with this white guy and he came out his car with his shirt off and with a crowbar, and I don't know what he was going to do, but I had to I almost mashed up the rental trying to get away. Basically, they kind of jammed me into, it was this weird thing. Y'all gotta listen to my story, y'all. I'll show you the video where you can hear about that incident. It was, I'm trying to remember which video I talked about it in. It was either the part 1 or the part 3. I can't remember. It's been so long. I actually linked it in the description box and comment section. I always link that video. I think it was the part 3 one, but I'm not certain. It was either part 1 or part 3. It's linked in the description box and comment section. So whichever gaslighting and programming of the targeted individual video that you see linked in the description box, that's the one. Excuse me, where I talked specifically about what happened back there. It was like in the wee hours of the morning, like 2 or 3 a.m. And I was driving up and down because the targeting was so bad. It had went viral after the Greyhound bus thing. And I to the point where I didn't even want to stay in the hotels and stuff. It was just getting so freaking weird and bad. So I was driving up and down. I ended up by accident turning off on this back road, and I was by this cornfield. And it was this weird type of highway where the right side was like on a slope. So it's not to say like I could turn and do a U-turn off the highway or anything. It was just like this weird thing where there was like this slope, and I would have to drive and drive until I got to the end of it. And then to the left side was a median, and then you had the other side of the road. But thank God the median was kind of low down, and I had this big van. That was all they had available at the rental company. Thank God, because had it been a small car, I would have been screwed. Anyway, so I noticed I was driving and they started brighting me, which is a tactic they use on targets sometimes, where they'll drive real close behind you and put their high beams on. So this big, huge truck, I noticed at that hour of the night just creeped up on me and was brightening me. And I was on the phone with my sisters at the time too, because I was calling them and telling them all the stuff that was happening, and I was getting gaslit like crazy. But anyway, I don't want to, whatever. So the thing come up behind me and it's brightening me, and so I'm getting kind of nervous. So I start speeding up, trying to get away from him and get off of this back road. And I noticed like the road is blocked. It was like, the beginning of, or the front attachment to those trucks, those CDL trucks, those big, huge trucks that those truck drivers drive. You have the load, right? The back part, and then you have the front part that attaches, the part where the truck driver sits and drives. It was like 2 front parts attached to each other. And so it almost looked like one of the front parts was towing the other one. So anyways, I really started to shit my pants then, because I'm like, this person with the big truck was behind me, brightening me. I couldn't even see the race of the person or anything. I just know I had been dealing with gangstalking like crazy. It was real harsh and rough, because they felt like I mistreated homeless people. That was the narrative they created from the reaction I had on the bus, which is not the case at all. Anyway, so I've said this a million times and my story never changes. I even took my financial aid and bought a bunch of homeless people on the strip food just randomly one day, just because. And I'm not the kind that takes pictures and puts it on Facebook. Like, some people will help homeless people and you see them recording it on Facebook and stuff. It doesn't take away from the deed that you did, but it almost feels disingenuous to me. I'm not trying to judge people that do that, because sometimes you do that in hopes of getting help. Like, maybe you're somebody that does that all the time and you're trying to put together money for homeless people, and so you put it on social media so people can donate and help. So in those instances, I understand. But you have some people that just do it just because it looks good, and they put it on social media. I've never been the type to do that type of stuff. I feel like it takes away from your blessing. So I just did it. Years ago, I'm like, damn, why didn't I post it on? Why couldn't I be on those bitches that do that and put it on Facebook, man? And that's how I feel now, because in this situation, to keep like painting it like I mistreat homeless people, I'm like, that couldn't be further from the truth. So anyway, nonetheless, so that's the narrative they created. Like, I was this monster bitch that mistreats homeless people. And then it didn't help when the thing took a racial turn to targeting, and I had this incident with a police officer. Listen to my story, y'all. I'm not going to go into the details again, because I'm kind of doing it now by accident. Anyway, so the night on the cornfield, like, the guy was behind me, brightening me on this highway, and then I see this truck in front of me or whatever, and it was stopped up, and so I'm like shitting bricks, and in my head I'm like, what am I gonna do if I have to, because I'm already thinking, I'm like, but they know I'm on camera, at this point I realized there were cameras involved. I didn't know how they were doing it. I didn't know about the insect drones, and I didn't know how many people had access to the cameras. So I'm like, there's no way they're gonna do something to me on camera, are they? I really didn't know, because a lot of scary stuff was happening. So anyways, there was even this, I'm not gonna go to the details, like creepy stuff in the hotel and the inns I was staying in and stuff, real creepy stuff. This is what made me just start driving in my car up and down, up and down, up and down. So anyways, I'm just bracing myself for whatever, and I'm looking around trying to think fast, like, think, Sharifa, what are you gonna do if you have to? Like, are you gonna drive through the truck? If you have to drive through this damn truck, what are you gonna do? Because this is a big van, you could do something. Anyway, he come up, this guy, I have to mention the race, because I'm just explaining to you that there were racially charged things that happened in Indiana before I got down to Florida and shared the offensive stuff. So anyway, this white guy came out and took off his shirt, and he didn't take it off. The shirt was already off, and he had a crowbar in his hand. And so I'm like, okay, is it like an issue with the vehicle, or is this like a setup? Because, they know I'm coming. At this point, I realized I was being watched on camera, like I told you. So they knew I was traveling on this road. There's this big ass truck behind me, brighten me. I didn't know that was the term at the time. Again, I didn't know about the targeted individual program. I just knew that whatever weird shit was happening on island, it followed me to Indiana. So I'm like, this dude has this big high beam on me behind me, or not dude, whoever it is, they were anonymous to me at the moment. And now, coincidentally, there's this, like, thing happening in front of me where I'm blocked up now. You know, so I remember being terrified. I'm telling my sisters, yo, something weird's going on, you know, blah, 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 whatever I'm telling them. So he comes out with his shirt off and a crowbar in his hand. And so he walks like he walking to the side of the truck, and then he walks fast like he's walking to my van. And so I remember just kicking it into gear. I didn't know if I was going to have to ram through him. The last thing I wanted to do was run anybody over. I can't even run a dare over. I remember I ran a dare over down here by Divvy, and I called my mom crying. And it sounded like the last thing I'm trying to do is have to murder somebody in self-defense. So I said, let me just fuck this rental. I turned over the median and I sped over the median that was in the middle of the road. And I was like, even if I have to drive on rim tonight, as long as this shit drives, I will drive it. So I remember doing this big left turn over the median, and thank God it worked, because it was a big ass rental. God does things in mysterious ways, because I was trying to get a little neat car and all they had was a big minivan. I'm like, damn, I'll be rolling around in a big minivan. This ain't cool. But I was like, this is a blessing here in this moment. So anyway, I got over the median and I sped out of that back road by that cornfield. And I sped and sped until I got back onto the main road. So anyway, that's just one of many racial things that happened in Indiana, though. The targeting was racially charged, and it wasn't just white people doing stuff. There were black people doing stuff, Spanish people doing stuff, Indian people doing stuff. The targeting was just viral. But it's just that there was a racial element to it in Indiana. It had turned that way. And I explained why in my videos. I'm not going to go into the details right now. So I don't really fault them over there. I just think they had a warped perception of who I was. And so I think that's where things took that turn, and it just was what it was. Anyway, so by the time I got down to Florida, though, I was too through. I had been dealing with stalking. I had never dealt with anything like that in my life. For months on end, I was angry. I hadn't done anything, and I was in a mode of just rage and anger. And so when I was living in my car in Florida, things had really hit the fan, and I didn't know it could get worse, but the Floridians were much worse than the Indiana people. I didn't know it could get worse. I have lived in Florida for years. I loved Florida like a second home once upon a time, until I dealt with targeting in Florida, and I had like a whole 360. Like, my view of Florida has changed completely with the way they were targeting my ass in Florida. So anyways, the targeting got so bad, and I was living in my car at that time too, you know, and emaciated, skinny. My face was broken out, you know, like knocking on, you know what, door. Like, I was just in a bad state, in a bad way. And so that's why I turned to the Bible. I'm like, this is real bad. Let me pray, because something weird is going on. I thought it was witchcraft. I genuinely thought so. It wasn't like me trying to be like a bitch. I genuinely thought so, because I couldn't understand. So anyway, I started reading the Bible verses and stuff. And at the time, I was Hebrew. So I was looking up Hebrew videos, and I was literally typing in videos about spiritual protection when you're going into spiritual warfare, because that's what I thought it was. And I didn't know about the technology, or the fact that they can send you videos with sensitization with the shadow networking software. And at that point, they had it in for me. All that shit that happened in Indiana and whatever else, they had it in for me. And then now they're seeing that I'm Hebrew and I'm looking up these videos, even if I didn't subscribe to the offensive ideology that's out there. Because like I said, you have different denominations of Hebrew, just like you have different denominations of Christianity. It's still just this controversial stigma when you hear the word Hebrew Israelite, because there are those out there that share offensive stuff. So it's like there was already this racial element to my targeting in Indiana. There was the moment on the Greyhound bus with the homeless guy. And now here I am in my car looking up Hebrew videos. Not negative or offensive ones, but nonetheless Hebrew videos. So a lot of people have a negative taste in their mouth when they hear Hebrew or Hebrew Israelite. So I'm looking up non-offensive videos, and anything offensive I was flying and taking it off. But the folks there in Florida that had control of the technology on my phone that I didn't know about purposely kept sending me videos with sensitization in it, pushing the false narrative that was created from the text I sent that created the targeting. And so every video I click on, I notice it's talking about lust and drunkenness and this and that, and every video I'm putting on is about predators and this, and I'm like, what is going on? I'm like, I know I didn't do anything, but everything I'm clicking on has this theme. I'm like, is this witchcraft? Like, I was so sure it was witchcraft, because I'm like, I know I didn't do anything. But I'm like, oh my God, I'm sure these people think I did, because everything I'm clicking on has this theme in it. So it's going to look like it's God or some sort of spiritual intervention. And that's the way they were posing it. And the angels are watching, and you have the gangstalkers in the back going ham and glaring at me. And the more they're doing it, the more anxious I'm acting and breathing funny. And it was just really terrible. And so I'm just like, oh my God, somebody did witchcraft. This is what I thought, because I didn't understand the high science element of the technology and what I was really in. I didn't understand it at the time. So anyway, that was when I got pissed and I just started sharing whatever. I didn't just share offensive ideology about white people. I came for Christians. There was a day or two where I came for Asian people. Because I had this bad interaction at the Chinese restaurant when I was doing DoorDash. I was sharing offensive shit about everybody. Your mama, your daughter, your son, everybody could get it. So anyways, nonetheless, it's just, obviously it made the targeting worse. This is what happens to targets. It's a very comprehensive program. I keep saying that. You don't want to get caught in it. And if you don't learn how it works before you have certain reactions, too bad. So anyway, that's what happened with that. When I got back on island, I did my research and I learned that I was a target. That's why I was like, oh shit, wait, that's what's going on? I started doing research and learning more and more stuff. I was like, I gotta start making videos and telling my story. Because they gaslight me about the videos too. But for 2 years, I was targeted and I never made not one video. What I did was I packed up my stuff and I tried to relocate. The thing followed me and blew up. And so I'm like, I have to tell my story. This is craziness. And so I keep saying that I'm not a liar. I don't regret my videos. To me, they were my saving grace. I don't regret them. So anyways, I made the videos and I started telling my story and I started doing research and stuff. I even explained or tried to explain some of the offensive stuff I shared. There's not much really I can do. So what can I do? I mean, it's at this point, all I can do is apologize, tell you where I was coming from, and that's it. There's nothing more I can do. I can't take it back. It's already out there. I can't take it back. That's like if you do something like, let's say I don't want to give a bad example, but let's say I can't even think of something right now, y'all. I can't really think about something right now. I can't think of anything. My brain is blank, y'all. I can't think about anything right now, to be honest with you. I'm trying to say, it's just something that happened and I can't take it back. The only thing I can do is apologize. That's all I can do. And then from there, I can't control your reaction or your acceptance of the apology. But all I can say now is do the right thing, because I haven't committed a crime. So no, you don't ever have to mess with me if you don't feel like you want to because of the things that I said. That's fine. But do the right thing and let me go, because I haven't committed a crime. This is beyond the scope of okay, I don't like the bitch, she said this and that. It's about morality and right and wrong. I didn't do anything wrong. So what's happening to me is unfair and illegal. It's not about like or dislike or forgive or don't forgive. If you can't forgive, that's between you and your creator, whatever you believe. Maybe you don't believe in a creator. So some people don't. Some people are atheists and okay, I don't like you, I don't forgive, I don't know what forgiveness is. That's you. But I've made peace with the things I've said. I've apologized. There's nothing else I can do about it. So now do the right thing and let me go. That's all I'm saying. You don't ever have to be my friend. And I'm not trying to be a bitch about it. I'm just real. That's just my personality. You don't ever have to fuck with me. That's fine. But please let me go. Anyway, so back to what I was saying though. And there's some good example or analogy I could have given. I just can't think about it right now, y'all. And I'm off on a tangent too. So anyways, back to what I was saying though. So that element is there to the targeting, the race thing. They've even used, here's the irony, right? It's not even irony. That's not the right word. People use that out of context. It's not irony. But I almost want to say hypocrisy of it all. You make it seem like, okay, part of the reason why the targeting is so bad is because you shared that offensive stuff about white people. But then they had some of the people from one of the Hebrew camps that shares that offensive ideology, that always share that offensive ideology. And I'm not trying to throw them under the bus, because this is what ends up happening with these videos. I'm not trying to come for them at all. I had no right to share their stuff. I'm not affiliated with them. I never have been. My sister and I came into contact with that Hebrew denomination a long time ago in our early 20s. And some of the things that was going on, several things we didn't align with. Several things. And so we kind of disattached ourselves, and we were never attached to them in that way. And so I had no right to share their stuff. That was my bad. Because I kind of put a spotlight on them too in a way, and it's like, I'm not even affiliated with you, and now I'm in this hot pot and I decide to share your stuff. It wasn't like that though. I was really just genuinely looking up Hebrew videos, whatever I could find, because that's kind of how this family is. We're not like attached to any specific Hebrew denomination. It was just like certain concepts we did subscribe to. And so it's just kind of like this way where you just watch different videos that you do agree with or you do find some sort of relativity to. So we were never attached to those guys that wear the purple. No disrespect to them. I'm not trying to disrespect them. But I'm not attached to you or your denomination of Hebrew. But here I am because I'm in this hot pot sharing the worst of your videos that I could find, because that's what it turned into. Again, initially I was just looking up different Hebrew videos, and their videos were some of the videos I looked up, talking about spiritual protection and how to protect yourself from spiritual warfare. And then when they started sending the manipulation with the technology, pushing certain narratives and sensitization, and they're revving in the back and doing the craziness, and I'm having these anxious reactions, I got angry. And that was where wrath came in. And then it's like, okay, I'm not sharing these videos anymore for protection. I'm sharing it for these bitches. Like, that's how I felt. And so I started sharing offensive stuff from that camp specifically, and not just them. There was another Hebrew guy. I think it's his camp. I can't remember the name of his camp, and I don't want to spotlight it either. He was the one that was sharing real, like, controversial stuff. He had some real controversial stuff he was sharing about. This is where the rich people thing came in, and that they took that out of context too. He wasn't talking about all rich people. He was talking about, like, this specific family that has ties to the government that's in the upper echelon, and they just happen to be rich, obviously. But it wasn't about rich people in general. Like, they took a lot of the stuff I said and took it out of context too. First of all, it was a lot of convoluted information. It's so irritating. They have this big, loud, annoying cricket while I'm trying to talk. It's like really irking me. And I think they're humming on me too. Anyway, some of the info, a lot of it was convoluted info that I don't necessarily subscribe to. I'm not necessarily talking about the guys in purple either. There was another camp I was sharing stuff from too. But a lot of it was just offensive shit, and I was just sharing offensive stuff. And then I started even having this kind of like delusional thought in my head that I needed to share the info. It was just like I was not in my right state of mind. I was skinny. I was emaciated. I had scars on my face. I was being stalked, abused, and harassed by thousands of people, and I hadn't done anything. And so I was angry. And so at this point now, I'm sitting here like at least trying to read the Bible in peace and get some sort of protection. And even that I can't do. They're attacking me. They're revving by. They're glaring at me. You know, like there's this constant theme of predator, and I didn't do anything. And they're revving by and glaring at me. And I'm having these anxious reactions. So I'm like, oh my God, it looks like I did something. You know how angry you get when you didn't do something and that type of thing is happening to you? You want to rip people's heads off, actually. That's why they have some targets who have done physical things. It's a very demonic, I keep saying, program. I'm going to say that to the very end. This is a demonic program. Because they will turn somebody that's not bad into a monster. Especially if you're not a strong-minded person. This program could make somebody that's not bad. I'm telling you. So anyways, I've seen some targets like actually get physical. I didn't do that. I just, my thing was my mouth. Anyway, so nonetheless, I was just angry. And so I just started sharing whatever I could find, offensive stuff. It was about the holidays. It was about Christians. It was about white people. There, like I said, there was a day or two where I threw some shit in about Asian people because I had this bad interaction at one of the Asian restaurants. Just a bunch of offensive stuff, man. But I wasn't really affiliated with any of those Hebrew camps that I shared the info for. So I had no right to do that and put the spotlight on them. And it's like I'm sharing the worst of their content too. It's like not even stuff that I necessarily subscribe to. And then it's like the worst of your content that I'm sharing. It's like I'm making you look bad too. It's just like, it was just stupidness I was doing in that vehicle, man. So anyway, I noticed that they started using those guys in the purple down here from one of the camps that I was sharing the offensive stuff from. They were actually gangstalking me down here. There were a couple of times where I noticed that they would pop up in areas where I was at. Like I remember I was leaving my gym one time and I was going to the store to get something. They were standing outside of the store right next to my gym. And so I'm like, this really isn't even about that. You know, they keep throwing the white people thing and trying to make it like it's about that. But you know it was reactive abuse. You don't have a history of me sharing that information. You know my whole story at this point now. But you're using the guys, no offense to them. I'm just trying to show the hypocrisy of it. But you're using the guys that truly do push that ideology and share it in the streets, because they do this thing where they go out in the streets and they preach certain things. And they do preach that narrative too. Hardcore. On a daily basis, probably for years, some of them been sharing that info. Again, I'm not trying to throw them under the bus or say that anything bad should happen to them. I'm just trying to show you that this isn't about what they're making it seem like it's about. And you're using them to gang stalk me. When you have white people that's, like angry with me, but you're using them as gangsters. There was one time they were even in the street handing out pamphlets and you saw people beeping them and heeling them up and grabbing pamphlets. So I'm like, wait a minute. I'm not getting all this lashing for that. So why do you keep throwing white people in the gym then and trying to make it seem like that's what it's about? It's not about that at all. Or you would have never used those guys as gang stalkers. They would have been going through what I'm going through. A lot of those dudes have videos on the same videos I was sharing on YouTube. Coming out their mouth. Sharing the offensive content, and they're not targeted like me. So that's not what this is about. So why do they keep doing that? They keep pushing like white people in the gym and stuff and making it seem like, oh, that's what it's about. Like, especially on days where they're doing extra stuff in the gym, then they'll push a white person in the gym like that's what it's about. That's not what it's about. So why are you making it seem like that's what it's about? So anyways, nonetheless, whatever the case is, by the way, y'all, I went on this whole rampage to prove that I have white in me. It's irrelevant because at the end of the day, I've seen videos with racists that have stuff in them. Like, you have racist people that do have, or prejudice in my case, people that do have the race that they're being prejudiced or racist against in them. I mean, at this point now, with all of the mixing and stuff that's happened over the years, especially over here in America, everybody, I think, has something in them. And I don't think anybody's pure anything. I think everybody has a little something in them. But I tried to prove that it's relatively close in my bloodline. It's not like my grandfather. Like, I was explaining that my grandmother was racially ambiguous. Like, one minute she looked like a mulatto, the next minute she was looking white. My mom was even telling us the story about when she lived in New York, how when she was filling out her application, she was checking African American, and how the lady was telling her, why are you checking that? And this was back in the day when she was younger, and it was like the 60s or the 50s or something. They're like, why are you checking that? So my grandmother's grandfather was from Ireland. My grandmother's father was half white. So he was from Ireland. I have family in Ireland. The name Fair, which is an old Crucian last name, by the way, Phaire. A lot of my friends on Facebook are Fairs. I just had one of them poking me. He's been poking me for years. He's like a far distant family member, but he knows about us. That's my family. Like, I try not to claim people because a lot of people wouldn't want to be attached to this thing. I'm going to make it very clear. That part of my family, I'm not familiar with like that. Like, I have some of them that I've been friends with on Facebook for years, and they'll interact with my posts sometimes. And then some of them I have no connection to, but I don't know that part of my family very well. But most of them look, not all of them, most of them look mulatto and mixed up and stuff. And I looked it up recently, and the name Fair is actually from Ireland. So that's on my mom's side of the family. So I do have that in me. I mean, I don't know that that makes a difference. I mean, there are prejudice, like I said, and racist people that are prejudiced against a race that is in them. But it's not like some far distant thing. I have family members I could trace back right now that's in Ireland. Anyway, nonetheless, I don't have an issue with white people. I was angry. I was just having reactive abuse. It was a reaction. I showed y'all my ex, James. You know, I even went in my video, and they contacted James too. Like, they're finding everybody. I don't know how they're doing it. This dude was from Colombia. Not like no second generation, first generation. He was born in Colombia. His family is from Colombia. They relocated to Florida. He doesn't have social media like that. I don't know how they found him. I couldn't even find him if I wanted to. Now I do. Now I have contact with him because he emailed me. They contacted a lot of my exes. The Jamaican guy said I was dating. They found him. He was adding me on Facebook and writing me messages. Like, I don't know how they're finding these people. Like, they're doing complete research on me and tracking down my exes. I don't know how they're doing it. Anyway, it's just crazy stuff. But anyway, I didn't mean to go off on that tangent. But I even showed James, and he had green eyes and fair skin. I don't have an issue with people of a different race. I've dated like different races. I've dated mixed up dudes. I've dated whatever. It doesn't matter. There was a dude that was straight white. He wasn't even like a foreign type thing. He wasn't like somebody from Colombia, you know, that has like, okay, let's say the ethnicity of Caucasian. Like, he was really just straight up. His nationality was American. He was a white guy. Actually, I don't want to say too much. A friend of mine bought weed from him. This was back in the day when I was in my early 20s when I went to community college. I was dating him. I wasn't in a relationship with him, but I went on a few dates with him. There was something about him that happened that I didn't like. It had nothing to do with his race, but I even dated him. So I don't have an issue with white people. I don't care what you believe or what you don't believe. You know, I'm not trying to sound like a bitch. It's just, again, there's nothing I can do. I shared this stuff. It happened. It was an angry reaction.
Hello, welcome back.
I've apologized. I'm not still sharing it. I don't have a history of sharing it. I went on my Facebook. You can see right before I left Island in 2022, I made a Thanksgiving meal. I even wrote a post.
How I became a targeted individual.
Sorry, y'all. I got scared. I thought the video stopped. I even have on my... Let me go there now, y'all. I don't want to have to do this again. I'm not doing it. I'm not. I've done this already. I don't care at this point. I'm not doing it again. This video from 2 years ago, it says documentation of my life prior to my targeting. You can see the thumbnail says oxtails loading. In that video, I have like this story. I have a group of stories on my Facebook where I show, you know how Facebook is, where you can highlight, you know, go on your... Let me go over there real quick. Y'all see this part where you can have like highlights? So it's like you have your story that you can post on your profile. You know how Facebook looks if you have Facebook. And if you want, you can highlight the story. So that way it stays permanently on your Facebook profile. So I have a gym reel where I have different highlights from the gym. I have a degree reel. And I have an area called food. In that area... Sorry, y'all. This is just meals I cooked. No. I'm saying the wrong thing. That's not... Sorry. The oxtails loading thing confused me. It's not there. It's because I saw the oxtails loading thing for the video where I posted it. It's in my photos. It's this old post. Let me go to it now. It's in my photos, y'all. God, I don't feel like doing all this. And plus the video's getting to be too long now. Posts. This post here, y'all. You can see when this is from, right? You see the date, November 25th, 2021. Remember, I tried to relocate off island in 2022. And that was the year when I shared all the offensive stuff and the targeting went viral, etc. In 2021, I had no motive to share this. There was no motive behind it. I shared it because I wanted to. I made this big Thanksgiving meal because this is how it always is. Like, I like to cook and I had my apartment at the time. And I was seeing all these people posting Thanksgiving meals and stuff. And I don't celebrate it, but I don't have a problem with it. Like, when we were growing up, we ate Thanksgiving meals. You know, it's not a big deal. So I wrote this post and I said, although I do not celebrate Thanksgiving, I want it to be in tings, that's island slang, and eat copious amounts of yummy food like everyone else. So I threw together a quick menu for today. Yes, all of this food is for my greedy ass. Happy vacay/family time. Regardless of what your beliefs are, I hope you are enjoying this vacay. Does that look like somebody that's pushing offensive stuff? I don't care what your belief is. In fact, I don't even mind participating in your holiday or your tradition because it looks fun. What's the big deal? Like, I was angry in my car, so I shared offensive stuff. It's reactive abuse. I don't think it's that hard to understand. Anyway, I've apologized nonetheless. So, and you can see that's from 2021, as you can see. There was no reason or incentive other than the fact that I just wanted to do it. I hadn't shared anything offensive, so there was nothing to prove. I just wanted to do it. You saw my reel. I just like to cook too anyway. So we're coming out of this here now. So that's what it was though, y'all. I went off on a major tangent. Despite me trying to reel it in several times and not sit here and retell the story. Somehow it still happened. This video is still gonna probably be 2 hours long. Anyway, nonetheless, y'all, back to the gym and what's going on there. So anyways, anytime they start doing the craziness in the gym recently, where it's really you just lashing me because of what happened with the dude, that's really what it is. They'll like insert a white person to make it seem like that's why it's happening. Like, that has nothing to do with it, because then you would have been doing that before. You started doing it after I dissed up the dude that one day because of what he randomly started doing. And he would have been doing that stuff from before, if that were the case. Why did he start doing it when he started doing it? And then now they're trying to paint it like, oh, it's the white people thing. No, it's not. Stop. No, it's not. So anyways, because that's really what led to me going off on the tangent about that element of my targeting. Because I noticed I like to do it, like even today, because this is what the video is about, me documenting what happened today. But I ended up updating y'all on some things that's taken place since the last video I posted. Like the dream from a couple weeks ago. And then this incident that happened in the gym a couple weeks ago I'm about to talk about. And then I'm going to talk about what happened today. But even after the strippiness that was going on in the gym today, and excuse me, y'all, that's island slang. Strippiness just means stupidness. Even after what was going on in the gym today, when I'm leaving, they have this random white guy coming into the gym. And I don't mean to say random to sound like I'm being a bitch or like it's a derogatory emotion. It's more so just like I know it's gangstalking. They keep doing that. Like all of a sudden this random white person I've never seen in the gym before will pop up. It's like that has nothing to do with it, man. Stop it. So anyways, let me scroll up. That's why I shook my head. I'm not shaking my head at you because you're white. It is because you're white, but not because I have a problem with white people. It's because they're trying to do this thing. Like it's like this thing they're trying to do, and I know that's not what it is. Like that's not what you whipping me for. That's not what it's about. So anyways, anyway, y'all, they're trying to hum on me like crazy. They keep doing this, and then it eventually has like this adverse effect later on. Like it'll happen either later tonight or tomorrow, where I'm gonna have trouble swallowing, and I have to stay up tonight. I work at the facility. They gave me 2 nights on the schedule at the prison, right? Remember, I used to work there as a corrections officer. So anytime they give me nights there, it's like random and sporadic. It's not like this constant thing on my schedule. I try to make sure I stay up. Like I don't even want to nod off for a second because of what happened with that place. I talked about it in my last video. So if they hum on me before I go, it like affects me. It does have an effect, you know? So I really wish they wouldn't hum on me. I'm not saying anything that's not true in this video. Everything I'm saying is true. So I don't understand what they're humming on me for. I'm not saying anything offensive. So anyways, nonetheless, what time is it anyway? It's 10. What? It's 10:30. Wow. It's almost time for me to go to work. Like literally in an hour and 20 minutes I have to get up, y'all. Anyway, let me try to hurry up and finish this video. I just know it's going to be super long. And I still haven't even talked about what happened today or what happened since the last video I posted a month ago. I just had to give that backdrop story because it's like a lot of stupidness and false narratives and perpetuation of false things, and then like throwing like the white person to make it seem like, yeah, this is validation for what we're doing. No, you're just whipping me because you think I'm a bitch. You don't like me. And I responded the way that I responded to that dude, but he was doing what he was doing first. And no, it had nothing to do with white people. Because why wasn't he doing that the whole year? It doesn't make sense. So anyways, nonetheless, I even realized, oh, I took a screenshot, y'all. I almost forgot. I even realized recently, this is something else that I had talked about in that video that I ended up deleting. I accidentally discovered that the dude was following me on Facebook. Like, I didn't, that's to tell you, and if you're a follower of mine on Facebook, that means you sent a friend request, and either I saw it and I ignored it, or I didn't see it. Because there are so many friend requests that I get all the time, I don't see all of them. I'm not gonna lie, there have been several friend requests where, you know, I accidentally, like, let's say I'm going through the list for whatever reason, and I'm like, wait, this person sent a friend request? When did that happen? Because there are so many of them there. Like, this is what I'm trying to explain to you all. I get a lot of friend requests. So, and I'm not trying to sound narcissistic, because that's a large part of what's happening too. It's like this, like, urge to humble me, and it's like this, like, burning urge to humble me. And so it's like I'm getting whipped so bad because of it. So I'm trying to be careful. I don't want to sound like I'm bragging or anything. A lot of girls get a lot of friend requests. And then on top of things too, I'm a target. So it's like the element of being a female and then being a target. You know, I'm like, it's like this big spectacle on Island. So that's part of it. Anyway, so I get a lot of friend requests, and sometimes I don't see them. I don't see all of them. I genuinely didn't see this dude's friend request. It's not like one of those things where I saw it and I ignored it. But that's to tell you, it's like I didn't even try to add him on Facebook. I'm so uninvolved with the situation. I'm not thirsty. I don't like him like that. I've said it a million times, but I don't have to say it. Actions speak louder than words. They're reading my thoughts. They've seen who I've daydreamed about. I really have daydreamed or thought about this guy. Recently, I've thought about the situation a lot because they're really tormenting me. I don't really think about them. And then on top of things, my actions as far as the things that they did, My actions speak louder than anything I could say. I think it's blatantly obvious I don't like him like that. Like, the whole debacle with the girlfriend and bringing her around and me not reacting, and then him, like, blatantly going in the mirror and kissing at her so I could, like, clearly see that's his girlfriend. Still didn't care. And I'm not trying to sound like a bitch. I'm sorry, that's just how my personality. Like, I'm a realist. And you don't understand the torment I'm getting in this gym over the dude. And I'm guzzling water, and I'm like, this is not that type of party. I don't even like him like that. So that's where this is coming from, this energy. Anyway, so, I didn't care. And then it's like, it was so bad that they wanted me to have this reaction or humble me or whatever it was. I think they really thought I had, like, the dude, like, mad or something. I think they had, like, a misconception of the whole thing that was happening, because I think they were shocked when I didn't have the reaction they thought I would to the girlfriend. So then I go to the back room that night. If you listen to the last video, you'll hear about it. And his friends were actually, like, dissing me purposefully while she's there to get a reaction because they didn't get one when he just brought her around. So I still had a mature response, and I made a video. I mean, yeah, I kind of went in on those dudes that night because I just thought it was so corny. But I made a video and I actually complimented him and her. And I even talked about why I think they're bringing her around and the fact that I understood. I didn't diss the girl. Like, somebody ignorant might have been like, you know, that bitch ain't better than me, this and that. You know, like, that kind of reaction. Some females would react like that. I didn't. I knew, like, the girl didn't do nothing to me. So I'm definitely not going to come for her. It wasn't really until she did something petty. You heard about it in the last video where I kind of started doing stuff and still nothing really. Didn't say anything derogatory. It's more so like every time I saw her, I was chuckling. Whereas I'm like, this, all of this, I'm like, it's not that serious. I don't care. I just want to work out. I don't really care about that situation. No disrespect. So anyways, it's not that type of party is all I'm trying to explain. It wasn't what they thought. It really wasn't. Anyway, so nonetheless, the other day though, this was like a week or two ago. This is like 2 weeks ago. Time is flying. I keep saying that, y'all. I accidentally realized the dude was following me. So apparently he had sent a friend request whenever. I have no idea when that was sent, and I never saw it. And I had just typed in, I was looking for something specific, and I typed in B-A, and it's like, he has that, I can tell that's not a last name. I think that's some sort of Rasta man thing that he has as his last, in the place of the last name on Facebook. And when I'm typing in the B-A and I'm scrolling through looking for what I was looking for, I see this yellow thing pop up to me. So of course the yellow always catches my eye now because of what's going on with the targeting. So I see a yellow suit. Remember I told you he had came in the gym a day, if you listened to the last video, with a yellow suit. And so now they're using yellow on me. I saw the yellow. The yellow is what stood out, not the name. And so when I look, I stop at the thing, to the profile, and then the first name also stood out. I'm like, wait a minute, that's the dude from the gym? And I click on the profile, I'm like, oh shit, I didn't even know he was following me on Facebook. Apparently I never saw the friend request. So anyway, I went on there to show y'all, because I just want y'all to understand this narrative of thirst is bullshit. It's not what they're making it to be at all. So anyways, y'all can see, right? You see, you see the BAN, right? You see that followers is highlighted? I did it again. I emulated what happened that day by accident. I did it on purpose now today. So I typed in the BAN. I scratched his name out because everyone on the island is watching, right? So I scratched his name out, and I even scratched his face out. But this is his profile, okay? That's the yellow, that's the yellow suit that he was wearing. That they actually now use yellow on me. So anyways, he was there in the followers. I didn't even know. I had no clue that he was following me. I had no idea. So no, I'm not thirsty, and it's not that type of party at all. I really just want to go work out in peace. I am so over the situation. I don't know why they're not over it when he started with me first. Why am I getting whipped like down to the ground about it? So anyway, you guys, so let me talk about what happened with this dream, right? So I told y'all what happened in the dream. I explained to you all already what happened in the dream. So I woke up, and immediately I immediately started talking to them. Remember I told y'all what the targeting is, this weird thing. I know you've experienced it if you're a target. Where it would seem like you're talking to yourself, or you're having these one-sided conversations, but you're really talking to the gang stalkers. Like right now, look, they're interacting with me, making the dogs bark. They're always listening and watching. So even if they're not directly saying something to you, they'll interact with noise campaign in the back, or you know they're listening. So it starts turning into really like the movie The Truman Show, where you're having like these one-sided conversations, but it's really not one-sided because they can hear you. It's just you're not getting a response verbally. You're hearing like animals or cars or rev campaign, whatever you're hearing. in response to the things you're saying. And it happens because they're constantly interacting with you anyways. So it just kind of turns into this thing because you can ignore them all you want. Everything that plays on the screen, like you're watching a show and stuff, they're making noise in the background trying to get your attention. You're typing something, they're making noise trying to get your attention. So eventually you start to interact with them. It's this weird thing that starts happening where you start to converse with them. It's like this one-sided conversation, but it's not really. It's weird. So anyways, so after I had the dream and I woke up, I remember I immediately started talking to them, especially, the people that control the insects and the birds and the technology and stuff. You hear the cricket going off right now? I immediately said, I know y'all sent that dream. I said, I know y'all sent that dream. I immediately said that. I said, that dream was vivid. I said, I know y'all sent that. I said, I know y'all sent that dream. And I said, I started actually, when I started recapping the thing in my head, I started to feel relief. I was like, wait a minute. Y'all heard me say I don't like him, though. I was like getting excited. I was like, wait a minute. I said, y'all heard me say I don't want the dude in the dream. I was like, you heard me say that. Oh my God, it created stuff. The whole week they started dissing me up with the technology. Now, they already been doing that anyway. They started to really go ham on me with the technology and the don't want it, the this and the that, and the crazy going ham with the technology after that dream. I was like, what the heck? I even started waking up having anxiety about it. I started waking up breathing funny and just, because they were going so ham with the technology. They kind of laid off now, but not really. Kind of. It's not as bad as it was like a week ago. It was real bad. They were going ham on me. So then about a week after the thing happened, I know I'm in the gym, I see the dude there. I pull up, the dude is there. I was like, oh God, don't tell me he gonna start coming around now again. Not to say like I own the gym or anything. Typically, I wouldn't care if he were there or not. It's because of the things I've dealt with for the last year that I don't want to be around him. It's because of everything that I've dealt with. I am traumatized. There was this dude outside the laundry, right? The other day. Don't even really look like the dude, but it's the same aesthetic. Brown skin, older Rasta man with glasses. It's not, let me not say that now and they start doing this to be spiteful now, because they do stuff like this. Like, I'll say this comment and now I'm going to notice gang stalkers that have the glasses that's brown skin and Rasta, like coming around just, that's older to be spiteful. There's so many people that have that aesthetic, okay? And not all of them are going to create a reaction. But something about the way this dude looked, it just reminded me of the dude, and I was so anxious because of what I had been dealing with the last 2 weeks after the dream. I started to have this anxious reaction, like I want to run out the laundry. And then I go in the laundry and I see this girl in there with blonde braids. So it was just like a double whammy, man. I remember grabbing my clothes and I almost ran to my car. They started to rev in the road and all because they're watching my every move. They're like observing me super close. Everything I do, they're watching like a hawk. I almost ran to the freaking vehicle. It's not even him. I'm so traumatized. When the thing initially happened, I didn't give a rat's ass. He was working out around me after the incident. I didn't care. He was bringing his girlfriend around. I didn't care. His friends dissed me. I didn't care. It wasn't until things got so freaking bad in that gym with the thirsty thing and the people antagonizing, harassing me and all the stupid petty stuff they do, and I can't just go work out in peace. And then the stuff with the technology, it's like that's where it started turning into like this freaking antagonizing, draining thing. So anyway, about 2 weeks ago, it got real bad. They were really like, they were going ham after that dream. It's like I thought it would get better. It's like it got worse after that. It's like they were angry or something. It's just like it got worse. So anyway, about a week after the dream happened, I noticed the dude, I pull up, I see the dude's car. I was like, oh my God. I said, am I going to go in there? I said, I should probably just leave, That's how I felt. I was like, but I'm not going to mess my workout. I'm like, I'm not coming for this dude. Like, I'm like, okay, whatever. Let me just go in there and work out. So I'm just going to avoid him. So I remember I went in there to work out. And at this time, I had started doing Bulgarian split squats. That's a new part of my workout now. So typically, when I go to the gym at the time I went that day, not many people are there. It's like 1 or 2 people. Not many people. I'm noticing now more and more people all of a sudden coming at that time. I don't know what's going on. Like today was like a party in the gym. But anyways, so that day too, it was like a party in the gym. I noticed there's a lot of people there. And that's not typical for that time. I've been going at that time. So it's like, oh boy, what is this? I'm like, it's a week after. Now all this is happening. I noticed I left out of my neighborhood, a police car drove by as soon as I'm leaving out my neighborhood. Then I get into the shopping center. Outside of Pueblo, they had this dude. He's a gang stalker, and they use him on me sometimes, and I know something about him. I'm not really going to say or reveal what I know. It's gang stalking. Pushing one of the false narratives. He's standing outside of Pueblo. So I'm like, oh boy, what they fitting to do now? I'm like, what's going on? So then I pull up outside the gym. I see the dude's car. And I see a bunch of other people parked up outside the gym. I'm like, oh boy, what is going on today? I'm like, should I go home? I'm like, no, I'm not going to let them stop me from doing my workout. This is stupidness. And I knew he was going to pop up. I just knew it. I knew after having that dream I was going to have some sort of interaction. I just didn't know when. Like, it wasn't like the next day type thing. It was like a week after. So I'm like, let me just go in and do my thing and just like pretend like I'm not seeing what's going on. So I set up my Bulgarian split squats. I was initially doing it in the back room, right? Where all the squats, not squat stuff, some squat stuff is back there, but a lot of glute and leg stuff is in that back room. So a lot of females use that back room. Anyway, initially there's a big mirror back there. Initially I was setting up back there and I was doing Bulgarian split squats. You know, they have like this little footrest that I recently found. I was like, yes, I've been wanting to incorporate Bulgarian split squats into my routine. And nothing felt comfortable. I tried using the bench, it felt uncomfortable. I tried using a stand by the Smith machine, it felt uncomfortable. Everything felt uncomfortable. So I remembered I found the footrest and I started using it in the back room, right? And I was doing my Bulgarian split squats. And I was taking this short barbell and I was putting weight on it. And it's pretty impressive because I'm actually power cleaning the weight over my head. Because I remember when I first started doing it, they had this Gangstalker dude they used on me. And I was initially trying to use the regular 45-pound barbell, but it's way too long to try to travel through the gym with that. So I found a shorter barbell. But there was a 40-pound barbell. I hadn't even put the weight on. But I don't usually use those. Even when I squat, I use the Smith machine. So I wasn't expecting the weight, right? Even though it's only 40 pounds. I've had like 250, 270 pounds on my back before. It still felt foreign to me, like trying to balance that weight. So I just didn't expect it. It looked so light. I just didn't expect the weight. So I remember I kind of stammered a little. Dude hopped up and went to grab the thing off me. I told him thank you, and I've adjusted myself, but for me it was kind of like this lightweight. I could handle it. So I'm taking 80 pounds and I'm power cleaning it over my head because I don't have a stand back there to hold the weight on. So I put the weight on ahead of time and I'm power cleaning 80 over my head and I get it on my back and I'm doing the workout back there. Anyway, so I'm doing the workout back there and I noticed like the next day after I did the workout and I successfully did it, I noticed the next day they had a Gangstalker back there. I actually thought it was a female. I thought it was a young female. I didn't realize until recently that it's a gay guy. He's just so feminine, no disrespect, that I actually thought he was a girl. So I thought they were Gangstalking because he was back there with little short pants on and, you know, doing the strippiness they do sometimes with these females. I thought it was a girl, and he has this super long locks down to his feet. I thought it was a girl with long weave, and it's just irking me. It's like, you know, in the space, obvious Gangstalker. You know, I had went different times, and they had her come in. Excuse me. And now I know it's a he. Had him come in and gangstalk back there and kind of block up the area. So I realized it's a Gangstalker, clearly. So anyways, now, the area where I'm doing the Bulgarian split squats, I come the next day now to do my Bulgarian split squats. Coincidentally, he's there stretching in the area where I was doing the Bulgarians. So I'm like, are they serious? So this is what I'm talking about. It's not like just harassment where they're like, okay, antagonizing me with the water thing and painting the false narrative of thirst. Or sometimes traits in these young females that, you know, to me, that's nothing but thirsty. And these little short pants where, all, you know, everyone on island and real perverts are watching sometimes too. Anyway, they actually will impede my workout sometimes. Like, put people to block machines and block areas where you know I'm about to do a workout. Like, stuff like that. They do that all the time. But it's not consistent. It's not like a every workout thing. It's like, it depends on whatever, right? So anyways, I noticed the day after I start doing the Bulgarian split squats, they start putting that dude, I thought it was a girl, back there. And he's literally in the area on the floor where I do my Bulgarians, stretching. So I remember I was so annoyed. But I took the foot thing and I moved it. I realized it's mobile, right? I can move it. So I took it and I moved it outside to right outside the room. There's this big mirror. And there's an area where you have a leg extension machine and you have other machines. It's a tight area. But there was just enough space in the walkway for me to set up and do my Bulgarians. And I liked it more because it was like real close to the mirror. So it's like I could see myself up close and personal. I even made a comment that I started seeing my legs and I was like, okay, you know, because I had lost weight when I lost the correction officer job. Like my sister was even making a comment, you lost weight, didn't you? Now it's intentional. I'm intentionally cutting. I'm intermittent fasting. I'm eating healthier, etc. But I'm making sure to eat enough protein where I'm not losing muscle. But what started happening to me about a month ago, or at this point now it's been months, since I lost the correction officer job. Time is flying. It's been like 4 months or something like that. When I first lost the job, I wasn't making enough because I wasn't working as many hours doing the security. And I was no longer getting that free meal from the cafeteria. So I just lost weight unintentionally. I lost like 10 pounds. I was 192 and I went right down to 180. I explained to you all already my body type. I have a fast metabolism. And if I'm not eating in excess, then I go down. My natural body weight is anywhere from 150 to 160, even though I'm 5'8". I'm just very lean, and that's just my body type. I have a fast metabolism. I'm a mix of a mesomorph and an ectomorph. I've explained this already. So the mesomorph is the athletic body type, and the ectomorph is the skinny, slender person that has trouble gaining weight and very petite, and they make noise about it, and try to get in my head, but I actually have a good body type. I've explained this in prior videos, y'all. So I'm not going to go into the details about that. But nonetheless, even with my bone structure, because that's something they also try to bully me about that I actually realize is a good thing. But even with my bone structure, you can tell that I'm actually a mesomorph and not an ectomorph. Ectomorphs, true ectomorphs, they have small bones. I'm the true definition of big boned. You have some people that are, I'm going to be careful with my words because I say things that offend people. But you know how you have some people that are endomorphs? And the endomorphs are the fuller figured people. And they have the slower metabolism and stuff. Sometimes they'll use the word or the term big boned. They'll use the term big boned out of context. Now, a lot of mesomorphs are big boned. Their bones are denser, typically. So they are big boned. But sometimes you'll have somebody that has like meat on them, and they're calling that big boned. I'm truly big boned, or I don't have much meat on me, but my bones are big. That's why they be coming for me about my shoulders and my back and all the things that make me so powerful and strong. Those are the things they try to come for and make me feel insecure about. But then I did research, and I told you all in the last video, and I made a video about it where I was taking my measurement, trying to figure out my pant size, and I realized I have the ideal body type. Apparently the hourglass figure or something like that, where my shoulders are in symmetry with my hips. So it's like perfectly symmetrical. My shoulders are 32. My hips are 32. My waist is 23. So apparently I have the hourglass figure, and I didn't know. So it's like they were bullying me about certain things, and then I started taking pictures and videos of my body. I'm like, I never knew myself to be horrible. Like, making me feel terrible. And I'm looking at myself, I'm like, wait, I don't look bad. Y'all saw those videos of how I look, right? I'm like, I don't look bad. I'm like, they're really trying to get in my head and degrade me, man. I took the videos, I'm like, I don't look bad. And I took the measurements of myself too, and I was like, wait, I have the ideal body type. Now, again, this is something that's going to annoy them because they're trying to humble me and they feel like I'm this cocky bitch. But you don't understand the level of bullying I've been dealing with and manipulation with the technology and degradation and trying to get me to have a warped sense of self. And so that's why I do these things and I say the things I'm saying. That's why. Else I wouldn't talk about it. I'm telling you. Anyway, even just now as I'm talking about the ectomorph and how I lost weight, they started turning up music in the background. That's what made me start going off about my body again. So anyway, I did lose weight though. I wasn't getting enough food, and if I'm not eating in an excess, I'm going to lose weight. That's just how it is, and I'm going to drop down to like 150 or 160. That's my natural weight. I have to be eating and stuffing food down my throat to stay at 180 and 190. That's not my natural weight. So anyways, despite me being big boned. So I got down to 180, and I even lost muscle mass. My routine wasn't correct. I was working out almost every day. So I wasn't having enough recovery time. I just recently did more research, y'all. I'm still learning. That's to tell you, I'm intermediate when it comes to this workout thing, but I'm still also kind of an amateur. That's why I call myself an amateur bodybuilder. I've only been doing it for a year and a half, and before, even though I worked out off and on, it wasn't like now where I was actually trying to sculpt and build the body, and I'm doing this and that. Like I told y'all, there's a main focus on it now because I don't have much going on during the daytime. So I started doing more research recently, and I realized, okay, I've been doing everything wrong. I was working out every day. I wasn't having enough rest days in between to recover. I wasn't eating enough protein because I lost the job, so that was happening. The nutrition wasn't there. Just a lot of stuff wasn't happening right. I wasn't going to failure with my workouts. My legs are a lot stronger now because I've been working out for a year and a half. I can squat 400 pounds. I told you guys this already on the hack squat machine. And on the Smith machine, I can squat 270. So my legs are really strong despite however they might look, right? So it's just this kind of thing where I realize I need to do more, but less at the same time. I need to do more intensity and less volume is what I realized. So I was doing all these reps, all this volume at a light weight. And all these days I'm doing it, breaking down the muscle, but not breaking it enough to grow, not stressing it enough to grow because I'm so strong. And then no rest in between. And then I had lost the protein that I was getting. I wasn't getting enough protein. I'm doing better now. I figured out a diet plan that works for me. I'm resting more. So I'm starting to see results. That's all I'm trying to say, because I went off on a tangent, y'all. Let me get back to the point. So I lost some muscle mass, and only recently have I seen it coming back a little bit. Not the weight. I'm still 180. I'm not eating how I was eating back then. I was eating like, I actually started looking kind of chunky, actually. They were teasing me with the technology, because even though like I started to look like badunkadunk, I also started to look like chunk a little bit, because like the weight was not evenly distributed, even though I have symmetrical measurements. Like I did start to like notice my belly, and notice my chin, my cheeks, like it was going everywhere, and they were teasing me with the technology. So anyways, the weight loss happened by accident. You know, I wasn't getting access to the food that I had access to before. And so I dropped down in weight, but then I also lost some muscle mass because of the flaw with my workout plan, and then not getting enough protein and nutrients. And so I just got it right recently, and I started seeing some results. I did. So when I started doing the Bulgarians, back to the point, outside of the back room, because they put that person back there to kind of interfere and impede, I moved to the outer room, and at the time, there weren't many people in the gym during the time I was going. It's like 1 or 2 people. And also, too, the space behind me, even though it's a very tight squeeze, you could pass behind me and get to the back room. So anyway, I started doing it out there. And I started just, you know, getting up close and personal to the mirror and doing it. I realized I could see myself better. And I was like looking at my legs. I was like, okay, I'm seeing some progress. I'm getting my muscles back. Hey. Anyway, so I started doing it there. And I noticed, like I said, about a week later, because this was actually when I started doing it, was around the time when the dream with the dude happened, coincidentally. You know, I think I started doing the Bulgarians like a couple days before I had the dream. Anyway, about a week later, like I said, after the dream, I noticed that all these people in the gym, including the dude. So I'm there doing the Bulgarians. I was just following my routine. I noticed I see him walk behind me. I can see in the mirror. I can't help it. I can see behind me. And so he went to the cable machine, and it's a good ways behind me, but still kind of close proximity. And he walked like he was walking to the cable machine, and he looked up at me and walked over to me. Like, I know I'm being watched on camera, so I mean, I think that was his intention to begin with. I don't even know why he acted like he was going to the cable machine. So he grabbed the cables, and he put it down, and he walked up to me, and he said, and I'm in mid-set too. It's not like I could even really stop at that moment. I'm in mid-set. I was in the middle of doing a set. And he's like, hey, he said, can you move to the back room and not block the walkway, is what he told me. So I wasn't rude or anything like that. I was just like, okay, no problem. But in my head, I'm like, that's where I was to begin with. And y'all started putting a gangstalker back there in the spot where I was working out. That's why I started coming out here in the first place. And there wasn't that many people in here. I mean, today it's like a party. It's clearly gangstalking. But that's why I was coming out here in the first place. I was back there first. So now I just told him sure. I wasn't a bitch or anything. I just told him sure. You know, because I don't want no drama. And I'm already like getting whipped like crazy because of the thing with him. So I just said, okay, no problem. I said, when I'm done with my set. So I went back there and started doing the workout, and that was the interaction I had with him. That was it. You know, he left. That was it. I didn't see him again. Then another day I noticed he pull up. Like, he's there again. This happened like maybe a week ago. I noticed again he pull up. I remember with the technology throughout, they've been sending, since the dream, just horrible stuff. Just coming for me and creating false narratives and just craziness, man. So I noticed him pull up again. Not pull up, excuse me. That's not what happened. This was about a week ago. I noticed I pull up to the gym, and I think it was not Labor Day, it was a holiday. So a lot of people were off, and a lot of people were in the gym this day. But I noticed as I pull up, he comes outside of the gym, and he's standing outside the door like he's waiting for me. So I'm like, oh my God, I don't feel like the gangstalking. I'm so over this situation. I'm like, I know they're not still doing stuff with this. So I remember just making a big U-turn. I said, I'm out of there. I'm saying, you know, I'm going to start to treat this like the Italian guy. Because whenever I saw the Italian guy at the gym, I started doing a U-turn. And I explained this because so many embarrassing, awkward things happen with him. With this guy, it's not even like embarrassing as much as it's traumatizing. Like, I feel like I'm getting whipped and abused for something that wasn't my fault. So anyways, it's just kind of turned into the same thing though, where I don't even want to be around it. No disrespect. You know, it's just like a level of trauma there with that thing, man. So I'm like, oh boy, don't tell me to start doing craziness with this thing now. So I remember I just did a U-turn. I said, screw the gym. You know, typically I will hell or high water get into the gym. I'm very determined. They even sent a video earlier showing this girl in the snow doing a cold plunge. They said a blizzard ain't gonna stop her. She's so determined. They sent that to me. Let me show y'all. That's how they know how determined I have been with this gym. Even when I didn't have a car, rain or hell water, I was making it to the gym. Let me show y'all. It was just earlier, y'all, when they sent that video. I just had to laugh. I'm like, they know full well. They know how determined I am. Where's the video? I think I'm almost there. They said rain, even a blizzard won't stop her, is what they said. She was doing a cold plunge, the girl. But you know, I told y'all they send sensitization to the technology. They're talking about me. And they start making noise in the background. Where is that video? They do this thing sometimes where they'll make videos disappear. Hope they're not gonna do that crap.
Oh my, Jacob Jones!
No, that's not it. Sorry, y'all. That's tweaking me out, y'all. They do this all the time. Will there be a video that they send? Look at this, y'all. I'm not meaning to put this under. Even this is just show you what they be doing with the technology. This kind of resembles the girl from the job. They'll often send this girl. I don't even follow her. I don't, nothing. They'll send girls that look like this. The girl from the correction officer job. I explained in prior videos what happened with that. I'm not going to go into the details. But look, just to show you. Look at this. It's just weird. They be doing weird stuff like that. But anyways, that's not what I'm looking for. I can't find it. This is a weird thing they do, y'all, sometimes. They'll make stuff disappear. I don't know how they do it. I guess they don't want me to find that video at all, boy. But they were making noise in the background when that was sent. So it's just like a similar concept, y'all. But anyway, let me hurry up and wrap up the video now, y'all. Let me hurry up because I'm realizing I've been talking for a long time. It's ridiculous. It's gonna be another like 3-hour video. Ridiculous. Anyway, so they know I'm determined to get to the gym and work out, man. That's what it's about. I don't care about no dudes or anything that's going on, especially not with that situation, man. It's not what they painted it to be. But anyway, so that was the interaction I had with him since the dream. Like 2 times I pulled up and he was there and I did a U-turn. There was another time I went and, I saw him coming out of the gym. I'm like, oh my God, is he going to be there today too? I said, let me find out so I can know if I need to leave. And I realized he was just walking, like doing gangstalking where he realized I'm leaving now when he's there. So he didn't stay. Instead, he just came out right as I pulled up and he walked to his car. And then he acted like he's walking to this restaurant nearby and then he disappeared. He didn't come inside. So I was like, okay. So I went in there and I did my workout or whatever, and I haven't had an interaction with him since. But now today, I noticed what happened is yesterday, I was playing the video, the same last video that y'all see on the screen, the last video that I posted from a month ago. I played it yesterday because, again, with the technology, they're painting a false narrative. It's like 24/7, they're sending me stuff. This is the new thing now. It's always something that they attach themselves to, and they start haranguing me about with the technology. This is the thing now. It's been a whole year, first of all, of me dealing with gangstalking in the gym because of the situation. But like recently, like I said, since the dream, they've been really like the last, I want to say 3 weeks, just haranguing me with the technology and trying to come for my self-esteem too. So anyways, that's nothing new. That's just something they do to all targets. They've been doing that to me. That's nothing new. But they're attaching it to this thing now. So anyways, I noticed yesterday they sent some bull crap again. And I heard a bunch of noise in the background. The bird drone was going chirp, chirp, and loud noise in the back. And I said, y'all know what happened with the situation. Am I going to have to play the video again? And so I played the video. They literally egged it on, I think, just so they could do stupidness in the gym. Like, I feel like they be doing that sometimes. Like, they'll egg stupidness with the technology so I could stupidly, foolishly react. Like, play the video. It's not a bad video either. Y'all heard it. It's just me telling the story. And then that's an excuse to do more stupid crap to me in the gym. Because they don't want to let the thing go. So anyways, I went to the gym today. First of all, the last time I went to the gym, because I'm only going 3 days out the week now, y'all. Remember I told you I'm now trying to optimize my rest days. And prioritize rest. Because that's when the muscles really grow. The workout is just to trigger the growth response. The rest is everything. That's where the muscles actually grow. So anyway, on Monday, when I went, what's today? Today's Wednesday. Yeah, on Monday when I went, I noticed they started using this dude that they were using on me before. They finally stopped using him. I don't know what made them randomly start using him again. So he's there with a red shirt. And I noticed that, he's in the area. So I was just kind of avoiding him, trying not to walk by him or anything, because I know it's gangstalking, stupid crap. I get on the Smith machine and I'm doing my squats and stuff, and I notice he's like in the area, like I said, and they do this like really petty thing where antagonizing thing where they'll purposely make somebody that's an obvious gang stalker sit down in the area and just stare in their phone. And you know that they're staring at you. It's this weird type of like antagonizing intimidation tactic because they know it's making you extremely uncomfortable. I've said in my videos it makes me uncomfortable. The whole reason I started wearing my mask again was partially because of that dude. It wasn't just them putting these dudes on top of me. Specifically with him, I get this stupid look on my face when they put these people on top of me. It's like this basity, stupid look on my face. And it's just annoying. I hate when it happens. Because when the mask is on, it's not happening. It's psychological. It's because I know I'm being studied. Like a science project. So specifically with him, though, I remember I talked about him in a video. I remember there was a time when they first had started using him. They had used him before, and then I hadn't seen him again, and then they randomly started using him again. This is what they do. Like what they're doing now. I remembered I was biting skin off my lip. I do that all day. It's an anxious reaction to being targeted and being watched. It's an anxiety response. It's similar to biting your nails. So I remember they had him there in the area, and it was making me anxious because he's doing the weird tactic where he's sitting and staring at his phone, and I know he's staring at me. So I remember I started to bite the skin off my lip while I'm grabbing the plate to rack up for the Smith machine. Oh my God, as soon as I do that, the dude like took that as a green light. I'm biting my lips at him. You're not even my type. This is even worse than the main dude. At least the main dude is somewhat my type. You're not even my type at all. Now, mind you, again, I don't want to sound like this vain bitch because they're manipulators with this thing. They'll take the things I say and they'll paint it in this kind of way to further villainize me. I'm not a vain person. I can date outside of my type. I can meet a guy. I've done it before, many times before. That's not necessarily my type. Shoot, the main guy that I keep saying is my type isn't even fully my type. If you ask my sisters what I really like, they would say he ain't it. The main dude with the yellow suit, they would say he ain't it. If you ask my sisters what I really like and what I'm truly attracted to. But anyways, he kind of falls into the umbrella of what I guess you would say my type is somewhat, just because of, the athleticism. But he's not even totally my type either, really and truly. If you look at the guys that I really be falling for and stuff, what they look like, it's not him. But anyways, so nonetheless, I'm not trying to be like that. I'm not a vain person. I've dated outside of whatever it is my physical type is. If you have a personality that I really like and something about you pulls me in, because I've met guys like that before that have some really magnetic personalities, then the look thing doesn't matter. I mean, I have to be attracted to you. I'm not a liar. That's how it works. Even in nature. Because they could try to fake it if they want and be fake. That's fake if you try to paint it like looks don't matter at all. That's a lie. Even in nature, where they're just going off of basic animal instinct, they're not looking for congeniality or personality in nature. And we are animals. As much as we are higher level animals, we are animals. In nature, they're going for the bird with the biggest feathers, or they're going for whatever it is that makes a mate attractive in that group, right? That region. That's just how it works. So it's the same thing with humans. There has to be some level of physical attraction. You don't have to be a model. You don't have to be the finest thing out there. I'm not the finest thing out there. But I have to be attracted to you physically. Whatever it is that I find attractive. It doesn't mean that you have to be my type and muscle and this and that. No, not at all. But I do have to find you physically attractive. There are men that I don't find physically attractive. There are men that find me not attractive. It happens. That's how it works. Everybody has people that they're attracted to and that they're not attracted to. That's just how life works. God made so many billions of people out there. That's just how it works. So anyways, in that situation, I'm not a vain person. I've dated people that weren't my type physically, that weren't this muscular. I'm not vain like that. But I'm just saying, if we are talking about what my type is, he's completely not my type, this dude. And it's just the cockiness with him that annoys me. Because it's the presumption that I'm biting my lips at you and you're not even my type. Like, one of the main things I've said, one of the vain things about me, one thing that I will say is vain about me, you can say it's a vain thing, it stems from insecurity. I've said this already. I don't like shorter men. Like, absolutely not. No disrespect. It's like I don't have a disdain towards you. I don't have a problem with you. But physically, I'm not attracted to shorter men. Shit, you could be my height. That's fine. I don't like shorter men. There's no attraction there. I can't explain it. It's just not my thing. No disrespect. He's a shorter dude. If he were moving humble and stuff, I would have never said anything about it. It's just like, okay, that's fine. But it's the fact that he was like making the presumption that I was biting my lip at him. That annoyed me so bad. Like, I'm already annoyed with the shit they're doing in there with these dudes. And I'm like, you're not even remotely close to being my type. You're acting like I'm biting my lip for you. But he so badly wanted to do whatever, because I think the dude is his homie or whatever, obviously. Also the cop too. I think they're all homies in there. That's what it is. And so it's like they're all taking on this thing for this dude because one day I said offensive stuff and hurt his feelings. When he was doing a bunch of shit to me for a whole month. So anyways, whatever. I think that's what it is. So just like they all want to take down the bitch. You know, even with the technology keeps sending stuff about Medusa and chopping Medusa's head off and all this crazy weird Delulu stuff. So I think he was just so ready to attack that he thought in his convoluted mind that I was biting my lip at him when I was biting skin off of my lip. Something I'm sure they've seen me doing all day long because of anxiety. And he flew up and he did some shit. He grabbed the bottle of water. He did this with the water. And then he ran to the garbage and threw it in. I'm just like, I'm looking at him like, huh? I'm like, if I am thirsty, you're not what I'm trying to drink, dude. No disrespect. You're not the drink I'm looking for. Anyway, so nonetheless, that's where the disdain with him comes from. You know, and then there's been moments where it's been more mellow and I feel like he and the cop were coming from a good place where it seems like they're trying to be genuine and do some sort of constructive criticism and show like this is how you operate in the gym, which to me it's all craziness because I don't need lessons on how to operate in the gym. The reason I'm acting how I'm acting is because I'm dealing with harassment, antagonization, impeding, gang stalking. I wouldn't be acting like this in the gym if things were normal. I don't have an issue at all. Like if, for instance, with the Smith machine thing, it's like gaslighting. There's a whole big, huge mirror here. You could go to any part of the mirror and lift the dumbbells. You could literally go to any part of the mirror. You purposely stand in the line of vision where I'm squatting and looking in the mirror and start acting like you're doing weights in front of me, directly in front of me. Y'all, anyway, let me hurry up and wrap the video up because it's getting to be too long. And I'm going off on a tangent. So anyways, you know, it's just like these gaslighting things and I'm making it like I'm this pompous bitch that thinks I own the gym. No, you're doing a gang stalking tactic, man. You're antagonizing me and then pretending like I'm being a monster. So anyways, nonetheless, whatever. I have never had an issue with sharing or being courteous or having manners or being a pig-headed. I've never had that issue before. I'm dealing with harassment, gaslighting, and antagonization. So anyways, nonetheless, so that's where that annoyance with that dude comes from, though. It's just really the cockiness, because they talk about me. It's like the presumption that I was biting my lip. Like, that still holds an annoyance to me when I see him. So that's already a thing. Excuse me. So that's what's going on with him. So anyway, they started, sorry, I heard someone go outside. That's really what made me start to realize that I'm going off on a tangent, y'all. Anyway, so this is what the thing with that guy, right? So anyways, that's what really started making me wear the mask again, because I am genuinely altitude training, y'all. That's why I'm wearing it too. It really does help with something called VO2 max. And the higher your VO2 max is, it's kind of like a determining factor. I mean, of course, different things can happen to cut your life short. God forbid, Yah forbid, I rebuke it in the name of the Most High. And you know I'm a target too. I am well protected by the Most High. But I'm just saying, if everything goes as planned and nothing bad happens to you and you're just living basically off of health, you know, and longevity, if you eat healthy and you fast and you work out and you take care of yourself, your VO2 max goes up. It's something called your VO2 max, and that has something to do with endurance and lung capacity. And so wearing the altitude training mask that I wear, it helps increase the VO2 max. So that's also why I initially started doing it. I was initially wearing the mask to increase my VO2 max. That's why I ordered it. But after a while, it started getting real intense, especially when I'm squatting big, heavy ass weight on my back. With that mask on, it's really hard. I don't see many people doing that. So after a while, I stopped wearing the mask and I started just going and feeling comfortable, and things weren't bad in the gym. When things started getting bad again, they start putting these dudes on top of me. You know, that's what made me start wearing the mask again, because it's like I would be making these stupid faces and then they would be reading the face out of context. And then, you know, the one time where this dude was like literally hopping up because he thought I was biting my lip, I was like, okay, let me put the mask on, because there's some crazy delusional stuff going on. Let me put the mask on. So anyway, back to what I was saying though, y'all. So I noticed they started using him again recently. Like, just the last time I went to the gym on Monday, he was there in a red shirt. So I was just avoiding him, like trying to walk around and not go next to him and stuff. Because they've been doing a lot of crazy stuff these last 3 weeks. So I'm up to here with it. Like, so everybody is annoying me now and there. So anyway, I tried to just move around him and get to the Smith and do my thing. And I know it's like he's sitting there doing the thing, like he's staring in the phone. And so I was squatting and like doing my squats and stuff. I got to the 230 and I had to split it up. I'm supposed to do 6 consecutive reps to get into hypertrophy when I get to the 230. But recently, with all the stuff I've been doing, my legs have been so tapped out that by the time I get to the 230, it's like I feel like if I do the 6 squats, I'm going to fail. Which really is what I need to let happen, because that's what really is going to tear the muscle. I need to squat until failure. So that's really a good thing. But I'm so afraid of failing with all the weird stuff they do in there. I'm just so terrified of just squatting to failure and then like looking like I can't get the weight up. Because I'm so traumatized with what they do in there, that I'd be splitting the 230 into 3 reps. Like, I'll do 3 reps, and then I'll stop and, take my little 60-second rest, and then I'll do the other 3 reps. So that's what I did this day. I'm going to start doing the 6 reps, so I'm just going to failure is what I'm going to start doing. But anyway, so this day I did that. I split it in 3, and so then for the last 3, my legs are feeling so tapped out and wobbly. For the last 3, I decided to wrap my knees up with my knee wraps. I actually have knee sleeves, and I was wearing them. But then I also decided to use the knee wraps for more stability. So I noticed he was working out and stuff. And then it's like I looked kind of weak in the squat, I think. And I noticed he sat there and he's acting like he's looking in his phone. So I remember I wrapped up my knees. And I did my 3 squats. And I racked the weight, in this kind of cocky way. Because whenever they start doing the bullshit, that's when I start moving cocky. Or else I'll be humble and low-key, as usual. Anyway, so I racked it in this kind of cocky way. I didn't say anything. I just racked. It's just this way I start to move. I know they notice it too. Whenever I start getting in that mode, I just racked it in this cocky kind of way. And he act like he's on the phone all of a sudden. The whole time the dude was quiet. All of a sudden, the order and da-da-da. Like he's making an order on the phone. I just thought it was so funny. I'm just like, what the hell is going on? So anyway, I got out of there though. That wasn't too bad though. That day wasn't too bad. It was just him. It's what happened today. I'm like, what the hell is going on? So now yesterday happened. I told you I played the video, the last video that I made. I played it because of whatever it was that was going on. Oh my gosh, it's almost time for me to get ready for work, y'all. I played it for the stupidness that they sent with the technology, and then they started making noise in the background, the false narrative. So I played the video again, talking about what happened and, trying to just diffuse the false narrative. And so now I go to the gym today. They're doing all kinds of stuff. I noticed I go over, was my core and arm day. I noticed I go over to the arm curl padding area. On the machine that they know I'm about to go on, there's keys there. So I moved the keys, right? I'm like, oh boy, they're starting with the bullshit. So I'm thinking in my head. First of all, when I pulled up, there was this older guy walking in that they use on me sometimes. He's extremely annoying. I'm sorry, I'm not trying to be disrespectful. He's just young enough to get it though. He looks like my parents' age. You know that age where you're in between elderly and young? Like where you're not completely old yet. You're up there, but you're not old yet. Like 60. I would say 60 to 65. That's the cap where you're just entering into the realm of elderly, but you're still kind of young. It's not like you're like an actual elderly person. That's what he's looking like. Like anywhere from, I would say 58 to 65, like that age range, like my parents. So it's this kind of way where it's like you're not super elderly to where I'm like, damn, you're annoying, but I'm not going to say anything. It's like you still have a little bit of youthfulness to you where I could say something because you're really annoying me. And it's what he be doing. It's like I feel traumatized. Like he comes around and he's going, like he's using the machines around me and he's going like moaning sounds. Like that's annoying to me. That's really annoying. So I already saw him walking in. He's wearing a red pants and a white shirt. I'm like, oh boy. I'm seeing a bunch of cars outside too. I'm like, more people than I typically see. I'm noticing these days at this time now I'm seeing more people in there. It's just what it is. It's like they're sending more people in at this time now because they realize that I've made this to permanent time now since I'm intermittent fasting. It's not like before where I purposely keep changing the time on purpose just to kind of confuse them with the Gangstalking. It's like I have a definitive time now that I'm intermittent fasting. And so I notice like there's just like more people coming in at this time now. So anyway, he's walking in there. So I'm like, oh boy. So should I leave and come back? I'm like, damn it. Nah, I'm just going to mess with my fasting, man. I'm not going to let this mess me up. I'm just going to ignore him. I'm going to try to turn the music up. So unfortunately, the earphones I have, it's like they play loud, right? But it's like they keep slipping out my ear. So I have to keep jamming them into my ear. And so those moments, if I'm doing reps and it starts slipping out, I can kind of hear what's going on around me. So that's the annoying thing about it. But I already saw him going in. I'm like, oh boy, what kind of day is it going to be today? Anyway, so I go in there, right? And like I said, I went to the machine that they knew I was going to. And on the machine is keys. Now, if you hear the story with my targeting and what started it, You'll know that keys played a part in things. You'll know that there was an incident that happened in Florida. It was a PTSD reaction where short black pants came into play. So they'll send these females around wearing short black pants, all to antagonize me. So next to the machine, they had this female, you know, she looked like she was in her early 20s or something like that, wearing the short black pants, and she's purposely turning her butt to the mirror and doing some sort of arm workout right next to me while I'm facing the mirror, purposefully, spitefully, right? So I just moved the keys, and I remember going on the padding and just being irked, so annoyed. I was so annoyed, right? So I'm just doing my workout or whatever. And she got up again to bend over and do whatever stupid crap she was doing. Now, mind you, if there are real perverts watching, they're getting a full show with these thirsty girls that they're using. And I don't even want to call them thirsty because maybe they're getting paid a little penny to do whatever it is that they're doing. But to me, it feels thirsty. Like you looking for attention because you know the whole island's watching. Anyway, so she's doing this or whatever she's doing next to me. And I'm doing my thing, trying to do my workout. You know, I'm already irked because that one thing is the one thing they know it too. If they're ever really trying to get me pissed, they're going to start doing that. Right? Or using that narrative or that sensitization. They know out of everything that they do, they know that's the one thing that gets me pissed. So anyways, I'm there doing that and I'm pissed and I'm trying to control my reactions because I already told y'all what's going on, right? And I'm trying not to have these nasty reactions. I was really trying to control myself and my thoughts. So I'm just doing my arm curls and stuff. And then to add annoyance to it, then the same dude I was just telling y'all about with the bite lip thing, he's in the area. They're using him again all of a sudden. So I'm not studying him though. Although I saw him, I'm not studying him. I'm more focused and honed in on her and annoyed with her. Right? And not specifically her because she's really just another face. It's just the sensitization and the stupidness with them. And like, why are you doing this? So now I'm doing the arm curls and I'm annoyed and trying to control my thoughts. And then she gets up and she does the bend over thing again next to me. And even though I'm not looking at her, I can see from my peripheral, she's right next to me. So I remember thinking in my head, this was where I didn't control my thoughts. I finally thought in my head, damn, I should have brought my bottle of water out. You know, hinting that she's thirsty. But while I'm saying that, he happens to be walking behind me. The same dude. Presumptuous dude that thought I was biting my lips that day. That's not my type. And again, I'm not coming for shorter dudes because this is how it happens. I'll say shit like this and then the shorter guys will be glaring at me and hating me. And it's like, I don't have an issue with short guys. It's just that there's no, like, if there is one vain requirement, regardless of what the personality is, that's what it is. It's height. Nothing else. That's it. That's my one vain requirement, to be honest with you, is you have to be my height or taller. And again, I reiterate, it stems from insecurity. I don't have an issue with shorter guys. It's really just me. Like, you know how they say it's not you, it's me? This is one of those instances. It's like, it stems from insecurity because I'm a big, strong up female. So I just feel like I'm not going to feel feminine enough in a relationship if I'm dating a shorter dude, to be honest with you. That's really what it is. So anyways, so he ain't my type at all. My bones are bigger than him. I'm taller than him. It ain't it. I don't want it. Okay? So anyways, he walking behind me though, and I'm too busy tiffed about this girl. So I just happened, coincidence, this is similar to what happened to the dude in the yellow suit, the day with the Angie Stone song, where my reps just happened to end there where she was saying too busy following behind me and he thought it was for him, and it wasn't. So I thought the thought in my head that, damn, I need to get a bottle of water. I should have brought my bottle of water out the car. He happens to be walking behind when I thought the thought. So I'm certain he thought that was for him and it wasn't. Even though he could use a bottle of water too, because everything that they're doing is thirsty. It doesn't matter what the motive is. The Urban Dictionary definition of thirsty and the way they're using it on me is that you're seeking attention. They're seeking my attention daily with the stuff they're doing. They're trying to distract me, actually, from my workout. So they're actually, ironically enough, and this is irony, being thirsty while they're trying to perpetuate the false narrative of me being thirsty. That's irony at its finest. Anyway, so nonetheless, I need to get up and get ready, y'all. Been talking for hours. I actually need to blow my nose at this point, too. Let me hurry up and wrap the video up, y'all. I'm trying to hurry up. So anyways, I noticed that he disappeared, the dude, right? I didn't even notice he disappeared, to be honest. I just saw, obviously, he did. Because when I got up from what I was doing, I went to the back room to do my ab workouts. They know on this day I only do 3 workouts. I work on my arms, and then I do 2 sets of ab workouts. So I go to the back room now to use the ab machine. And this is a relatively new part of my routine, by the way, y'all. He's on the ab machine. He purposely plants himself, and he's never done this before. All the gangstalking with him being in the area and doing annoying things, he has never been on a machine that I needed to be on. This was a first for him. So I'm like, I know he's doing this because of the comment I made about my water bottle. When it wasn't even for him. It's like another annoying presumption. Like, your presence is already annoying me because it's like gangstalking. I'm not trying to be a bitch. But then it's like hypocrisy too, because they keep saying I make assumptions and stuff, but that's all he keeps doing. So anyway, you're presuming I'm talking about you. Now you're on the machine that you know I'm going on. So he's back there on the machine, smiling. So that annoyed the fuck out of me. So I said, you know what, let me go get my bottle of water for real. So I purposely went for him to go. I needed it anyway because I wanted my water. I genuinely forgot it in the car. But it was also a petty thing. Like, I was going to get it to say thirsty, right? So I went to go get my bottle of water. As I'm coming back to the gym, now they have this girl walking out purposefully. It's another thirsty type of thing with this girl, right? She wears an army shirt. It says Navy. So I know she's in cahoots with the dude's girlfriend. Remember I told y'all in one of the prior videos, I put it together that his girlfriend is in the Navy. And so is this girl. They're both in the Navy. They both have worn the Navy shirt. And there was even this older gang stalker that they were using on me one time. He was doing deadlifts with me. He had the same shirt. It's like this dark blue shirt, navy blue. And it says Navy and yellow. I've seen all three of them wearing it. So I've already put it together that this girl is in cahoots with the dude's girlfriend. The dude in the yellow suit. Y'all, hold on. I need to blow my nose. And I need to get ready for work. So I'm gonna stop here where this girl is walking out while I'm walking back into the gym with my bottle of water. I'm gonna stop here. I'm gonna finish the video. I don't know that I'll finish it at work. Because like I told y'all, tonight I go to the facility. And it's kind of funny where it's like where I'm in a booth, but like there are night shift workers there. So I'm being watched by everyone 24/7. So I don't think I'm going to feel, my nose is stuffy too, y'all. I'm sorry. I don't think I'm going to feel comfortable finishing the video there. So I'm going to just get myself together, go to work, and, excuse me, I'll finish the video tomorrow morning. So I'll be back, y'all. Y'all, I'm back to wrap the video up. Hold on, let me go over to YouTube. Anyways, y'all, it's the next day, actually. But I'm here to wrap the video up. And actually, before I after I finished the video, or the portion of the video that I was at yesterday, that was why I was going to wrap it up. I was really just finishing telling you all what took place in the gym yesterday. So that was just documentation of more gang stalking. It felt like an unprovoked attack in the gym yesterday. That was the whole reason that I created the video. And then I ended up just kind of recapping the last few weeks and telling you certain things that took place since the last video I posted about the gym. But the whole reason I created the video was because of the gang stalking that took place in the gym yesterday. Anyways, because I didn't finish a video yesterday, and I am now in the next day, today is Friday. And actually, wait a minute, today's not Friday, today's Thursday, excuse me. Today's Thursday. I had a court case today, y'all. And it's in reference to that 4th car accident that I got in. Let me scroll there real quick. So y'all see this video from 2 months ago that says targeted individual documentation of my 4th car accident. You can't see the rest of it. It goes ... But when you click on it, that's what it says. The thumbnail says target cars. Check out that video if you want to hear the details about my 4th car accident that happened 2 months ago. And I also detail 2 car accidents that I got into before I tried to relocate off island in 2022. So since the targeting started in 2020, up until now, 2025, I've been in 3 different car accidents. And a lot of it was due to distraction, antagonization. It is what it is. I take responsibility because at the end of the day, I got in a car accident. So, I made some poor decisions along the way as well, as far as the driving goes. But it was also due to targeting, and so I proved my point in that video. I talk about the fact that I've never been in a car accident before. Prior to my targeting, look, somebody's revving by now. It's crazy that they would do that. It's like, this is why I said there's an element of gaslighting to the targeting. Anytime I say something that makes sense or is true, it's one or the other that's going to happen. They'll go radio silent, where I can hear a pin drop, it's so quiet. Or they'll start making noise to shut me up. They know what I'm saying makes sense and is true. but they'll still make noise to shut me down. It's just like, that's just how it works when you're targeted. Anyway, like I was saying though, if you check out the video, I made a lot of good points in that video. And I talk about my driving history and the fact that I've been driving since age 15. I'm 33 now, y'all. I'm turning 34 at the end of the year in December if the Most High spares my life. My car accidents took place from the age of 30, so really right after the targeting started. A year after the targeting started in 2021 was when I started getting in car accidents. So I got in 2 back-to-back car accidents in the span of 2 years. Then I tried to relocate off island, so that was in the time period of 2020 to 2022. The targeting started in 2020. In 2022, 2 years later, I tried to relocate off island. I didn't know I was the target. I just knew something strange was happening because I sent the text summer of 2020. So anyway, in the span of those 2 years, my first 2 years of targeting, I was in 2 back-to-back car accidents. And then the third, well, the reason I'm saying fourth, y'all, is because there was actually 3 car accidents that took place before I left island. But one of them was more of like a bumper type thing, and it was kind of brushed under the rug, and it wasn't like the other 2 where car got totaled and there were tickets written, and so I kind of don't count that third one, but that was a car accident too. Really, technically, I have been in 4 car accidents, and that's why the title of the video is documentation of my 4th car accident. But in the span of the first 2 years of my targeting, I was in 3 back-to-back car accidents. Prior to the year 2020, I had never even gotten a speeding ticket. I'm so ill-equipped on how to handle tickets and court and all those, sorry, I'm hearing noise in the background, y'all. I'm so inexperienced in that area that today when I went to court, because I am going to talk about what happened in court today, I didn't even really know how the process worked, so I had to kind of just figure it out along the way, and the judge was really nice. And so luckily for me, things worked out, right? But that's to tell you, I've never even had a speeding ticket before prior to 2020. I was driving from the age of 15 up until age 30 when I got in my first car accident. I'm now 34. So again, it's been 4 car accidents. So there were those 3 car accidents I got in the span of the first 2 years of my targeting from 2020 to 2022. And then obviously I didn't have a car anymore. I tried to relocate off island in 2022, came back to the island. For years, I did not have a vehicle. And when I say years, I mean 2 to 3 years. And then this year, a few months ago, I got a vehicle again. Mind you, I was borrowing my mother's vehicle. So for about a year, I've been driving my mother's vehicle. I did not get in an accident with her vehicle. I got my own vehicle. Started driving on the road more, not just going to the places that I need to go to, like, okay, the gym, work, etc., just taking drives. And of course, that allows space for gangstalking. So you have ref campaign going on, you have airplanes flying overhead. It got so bad that they made my horn go off. The horn was going off for so long, I had to pull over and plug out the battery. So these are the things that take place when you're targeted. So it's like all this distraction. I have ADD. And it just created this really distracting environment for me. And I made a poor decision. Like, it is what it is. I already took responsibility for the accident because at the end of the day, whether I was under mental duress or not, I still did make an illegal turn. It's not like one of those things where, okay, I just drifted over to the next lane and I was so distracted that I accidentally bumped into someone. I made a whole illegal turn. So that's where it's just kind of rough and sketchy. It's just a lack of focus, y'all. I wasn't focused and I was distracted with the things that was going on around me, and that's what took place. That's honestly what happened. But prior to my targeting, I had never gotten in a car accident, y'all. Not even a speeding ticket. I've been driving from the age of 15. I lived in Florida for years. I drove on the I-95, Interstate 75, etc., etc. Not even a speeding ticket. And then I get targeted, and all of a sudden in the span of 5 years, I'm in 4 car accidents. Mind you, the first 3 accidents took place in the first 2 years of my targeting. There's no way you can't take that into consideration. That's ludicrous. Anyway, nonetheless, y'all. So I had a court case today for the 4th car accident because I was given 3 citations, and one of them I wanted to contest. 2 of them, there was no debate. I made an illegal turn. I didn't yield to oncoming traffic. It is what it is. I wasn't trying to debate those 2 tickets. The one ticket I wanted to contest was just failure to maintain control of vehicle, because I never did lose control of my vehicle. The accident was caused from lack of focus, lack of concentration, distraction, targeting, mental duress. Okay, I was not paying attention. And it's crazy because I actually looked at the road before I drove out, and I was driving extremely slow too. I did not see that vehicle, but I was literally just that distracted. So anyways, I wanted to contest that though, because there was never a point in the accident where I lost control of the vehicle. It was really just that I made an illegal turn and I didn't yield to oncoming traffic. So that's why I went to contest in the courtroom today. And it was an experience, boy. It wasn't all that bad. I actually thought it went pretty well. It went a lot better than I thought it would. And so I just want to talk about that too in this video. So let me hurry up and wrap up where I was at in the video yesterday, just documenting what took place in the gym on Wednesday. And then I'm going to talk about what took place today. Because the highlight of the day, believe it or not, is not what took place at the courthouse. It's what took place after the courthouse that I want to talk about. So anyways, so back to this girl, though. So they use her on me sometimes. You know, it's just this weird thing with her where she comes in and she'll come in the area around me. And she always has like this kind of look on her face and, you know, obvious gang stalker. But also I believe she's friends with the dude in the yellow suit, his girlfriend, right? Because they both have the same shirt, the navy shirt. And there was a time where the two of them were in the gym and it looked like they were interacting. So obviously in cahoots, they both are in the Navy, right? So anyways, there has been a time where I was back there before working out in the mirror and she came right next to me in the mirror. So it was just kind of this weird thing. She's looking in the mirror and doing this weird thing. I thought that was kind of strange. But other than that, she hasn't really done that again. It's more so just like in the area and I can tell she's like watching me, you know, this weird kind of way. So the last time I had an interaction with her was actually the same day that I was telling you guys about, where I had the interaction with the main trainer guy. Remember, I had the dream and then I told you guys a week later I pulled up to the gym and he was there. And I went out from the back room to do my Bulgarian split squats in the area where I had started doing it because they started setting up a gang stalker in the back room. So I started doing it in the front room. And remember, I told you the guy came up behind me and he kind of acted like he was going on the cable kick machine. And then he looked up and saw me and walked up to me and told me, you know, asked me to go to the back room. So anyway, they knew, they had been watching me for about a week do that workout. They knew I was doing a superset. So I would do the Bulgarians and then I would hop on the leg extension machine and do 10 reps on the leg extension machine. So now I had to move to the back room because the dude asked me to. And I didn't want to cause trouble. So I'm back there and I'm doing the Bulgarians. When I go to now hop on the leg extension, again, this is not what happened on Wednesday. This was the last interaction I had with this girl though. I go on the leg extension machine. She's on the leg extension machine and she was kind of glaring too. Like she had like this look on her face. I was like, why is this? I remember I just stood in the doorway watching her. I said, why are they doing this? I didn't say it out loud. Again, remember, with the brain to computer interface technology, they can hear your thoughts. So I remember just looking out there and then just thinking in my head, why are they doing this today? I even chuckled because this was one of those days when I was in a more, I guess you could say, congenial mood. I was more jovial. They hadn't used anything on me that was super annoying. You know, it wasn't like when they put the younger female, right next to the mirror and on the machine they knew I was going to. They set the keys there where I'm tiffed. You know, like it wasn't that type of day. I was in a good mood that day. So I remember just looking out there and kind of chuckling and saying, why are they doing this? I thought that in my head. And, you know, it messed up my workout. It was annoying, but it actually didn't upset me. Wednesday, I was pissed. So it's like, it almost seems like they saw that I had gotten angry about what they set up when I first went into the gym with the younger female. And so they all kind of start piling in. You know, it's just kind of way. That's what it seems like. They have like an issue with me. And I think they really want to see me humbled and hurt is what it seems like. I just, that's the energy I'm getting. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be negative or create stuff, but that's what it seems like. That's really the energy I'm getting from it. So anyways, so she comes back there to the back room and I'm already pissed, you know, because they had the little girl out there. I'm calling her a little girl, even though she looked like she was in her early 20s. That's a young adult. But to me, that's a little girl. I'm 33. I'm making 34 at the end of the year. So early 20s, even mid 20s, you're a little girl to me. So anyways, so I'm in the back room pissed. And then also too, after I leave the area and I go to the back room to do my workout, then I remember I told you the dude that really annoys me, the presumptuous dude, he's on the machine that he knew I was supposed to be going to and he's smiling. So all of that was just irking me. I'm like, why are they doing this today? You know, I was in a bad mood. So I get back from the car, you know, grabbing the bottle of water for him, really, And I'm walking into the gym. She's walking out towards her car. So I remember just kind of rolling my eyes. You can't really see my expression because at this point I'm wearing the mask and the shades. But I even squeezed the water bottle like this, and I saw her get nervous, right? And she kind of cut into her car real quick. And so I remember kind of chuckling. I couldn't help it. I was just like, because I just don't understand why they're doing what they're doing, man. So I did kind of chuckle. I'm not going to lie. But anyway, so I get to the back room. I'm doing my workout. She comes now. She sets herself up back there. Right next to me. She's on a mat. She's laying on the mat doing stuff. So I'm like, I'm going to ignore this because they're doing stuff today. I don't know what's going on. I'm like, I'm going to ignore this. I'm going to do my workout. So I have 2 ab workouts that I'm supposed to be doing back there. One is one that I did the last time. It's a relatively new workout. And then there's a second one that I had wrote down that I wanted to try out. So I got through the 100 reps of the first workout. And then when I get to the second workout, it's like I couldn't do it. The way that the machine is, it's like I couldn't get my legs up. It's called an oblique workout, and it's not a half windmill. I think it's called I forget what you call the workout. It's a relatively new workout, and I actually just got rid of it too. I'm going to be doing something else for my obliques because it's too difficult. That's something that somebody advanced needs to do. Like I'm naturally strong. I have natural upper body strength, but I explained to you all already, I don't work my upper body out. I'm naturally built there, so I don't work it out. My arms are naturally toned. I don't work that area out. It just looks like I do. So I have natural strength there, but not built strength there. So it's like doing that workout, that thing that I was trying to do with the obliques, it takes a lot of upper body strength, and it takes lower body strength and core strength. And so I didn't realize how difficult it was going to be. So when I was trying to do it in the bathroom, I just couldn't do it. It was too uncomfortable with the way that the machine is. So I remember that they had some hanging down bars outside, and I've seen people hang off it before and do pull-ups and stuff. So I'm thinking, well, that'll be more space. Let me try the second workout out there. So I remember I'm walking out there to do it. I see the cop walking in the gym, so I just like flying into the gym. So I don't know if, and when I say the cop, I mean the cop that I've told you guys about in prior videos that they have been using on me now, like the whole time since I've been in that gym. He's been a staple in there, off and on though. They don't use him all the time. He's coming into the gym, traipsing, and I think he thought that whatever interaction happened back there and everything that happened with the little girl and everything else set me off, and I just gave up and I wasn't going to do the second workout and I was leaving. No. Y'all have never seen me do that before. It's never going to happen. The only time you're going to see me leave and not finish a workout is if I'm hurting physically. Like if there's an injury or, something took place where I'm like, damn, I can't finish. That kind of way. It's not ever going to be gangstalking that's going to make me leave. It's just not going to happen. So anyways, I went out there and he's walking in, and I could tell that he had this look on his face. I could tell he thought that whatever tactics they used worked. And that's not what it was. I was going out there to set up. So I remember just being so annoyed with everything they were doing. I'm like, why are they doing this, man? Because I hadn't done anything. And it's, to me, like it took a really low blow level when you start inserting the keys and the short black pens. That's where it's like you're getting real low with it. And that's where I start getting real nasty. Not like I'm going to say disrespectful things, but it's like where I start moving the cocky kind of way that makes them call me a narcissist. So I have this song from this guy named Akeem Ali. I love him. They sent him to me, I believe. I don't know. I'm not going to make assumptions. I think they were sending him because I like to write poetry, and his style is similar to mine a little bit. It's a lot different. He's more advanced, and he's real jiggy with it, man. The dude sounds so freaking dope. But nonetheless, they started sending him to me. I'm like, dang, this dude kind of reminds me of me. I'm like, I know that's why they're sending him. Anyway, so I started listening to his music, and I liked it a lot. And so I remember trying to figure out what songs I could put on my playlist, and only one felt comfortable. The other songs, it's like they sound fire, and if I weren't targeted, I would have put them on my playlist. But what they do with the music I listen to and how they create stuff, certain songs he said stuff, and I'm like, I can't put that on my playlist, no way. But there was one that I put on my playlist. It sounds kind of cocky, but it just sounded so fire, man. I just wanted one of his songs on my playlist. It's just music, man. But it's not like a thing where I'm going to put it on repeat because it sounds cocky. It's a cocky-ass song, right? Like he's talking about how fly he is, and, if birds of a feather flock together, then he going to pluck his and be naked then. And like, you guys got to hear the song, man. The dude sounds freaking, I'm going to put you on right now. Let me tell you the name of the song and all. Hold on. His name is Akeem Ali, and the song is called Egyptian Cotton. Dude is just fire. Y'all check him out, man. I had to plug him for a minute though, because the dude is like fire for real. He's like totally my vibe. Like I can't even explain it. They learning me with the AI and stuff, and they're learning my vibe, and they be sending stuff that they think is my vibe. I could tell that's what they be doing. He's totally my vibe. But anyway, so I put the song on my playlist. It wasn't directed at anybody. I just thought it sounded fire, and it was one of the songs that to me felt the least triggering. Like it didn't have a bunch of sensitization in it, even though it did sound kind of cocky. I thought it would be a good workout song, but I purposely put it on repeat because I'm like, they're doing a bunch today. I didn't do anything. I'm like, what is all of this? So I remember I put it on, and I set myself up out there to do the pull-ups and stuff, and to try to attempt to do that second ab workout that I had added to my routine. And although it was difficult, and I realized I'm not doing this next time, I got to do something more effective that I can do. I said, because this is what I have written for today, I'm going to get through all 100 reps. And so that's what I did. So I put the song on repeat, and it's just talking about, if you listen to the song again, it's him just talking about being fly, and also kind of like people coming to mess with him in this kind of way. And he's like, I don't mess with nobody. He said, I be getting my humble on. He said, just leave me be and go get your bumble on. Like, it's just, the song sounds fire to me, and certain notes in it was relative, especially on those days like that where I feel like unprovoked attacks are taking place. I'm like, why are you doing all of this? I didn't do anything. So anyways, look at all these flies now. This is crazy. I know what I'm saying is true though. It was unprovoked, everything that took place yesterday. I don't understand it. So anyways, nonetheless, so I'm there just attempting to do this second ab workout now. And there's a part in the song where the guy says, I'm so handsome. He said, I'm so handsome. And God really effed with a nigga when he made me, just talking about how fly he is. It's just like a song to up you and big up your self-esteem. It sounds narcissistic. But if you're dealing with the things I'm dealing with, where they're constantly trying to tear down my self-esteem, constantly trying to degrade me, constantly trying to make me have this warped sense of self, when I know I'm dope. I'm sorry, I'm not trying to sound cocky or narcissistic. Nobody's perfect. You should just be happy with the person that you are and who you are. You should be happy with who you are. And I am. I love me. And I don't mean that in a narcissistic way. It's just self-love. I love me. And I love everything about myself. I like my eccentricity. I love my uniqueness. I love my anomalousness. I don't think I'm fabulous. I don't think I'm better than anybody else. And everybody's different, by the way. It doesn't even matter if you're an average Joe. Everybody's different, and everybody has their own uniqueness to them. But whatever it is that makes me me, I love it. And so that song, to me, it just feels like it's a booster, a confidence booster, especially with the things I deal with. So now I'm just listening to the song when it gets to that part. Like, it's like the cop is competing with me or something. Like, first of all, most of the time when he comes in there, he'll be having like this muff on his head. Like, he'd be coming in looking rough. And a lot of people do, right? A lot of people be coming up in there looking rough, right? It's not a fashion show. You're coming in the gym to work out. I'm definitely not coming in there trying to impress anybody. I'm coming in there as long as I look decent. I'm coming in there and I'm doing my workout. I'm not trying to impress anybody. I don't know if he got a fresh haircut just to gang stalk me on this day, because I haven't seen this man with a haircut since he first started coming in the gym and was doing the tactic where he was doing the icing at me. That's the last time I saw this man have a haircut, like a year and a half ago. I have not seen this man with a haircut in eons. So it seems like they had all this stuff planned for me today. I don't know if the haircut was a part of the gang stalking or what the case was, but this is the first time in eons I've seen a man with a haircut, right? So while the song is playing, he acting like he walking by like it's a model show, walking back and forth in front of me while that part of the song is playing. I'm like, I'm not competing with you. First of all, you're law enforcement. So there's that element of respect there. I do respect your title, right? I do respect you and your position. But at the same time, you're a gang stalker. You're much older than me. You're a man. Like, we're not competing. We're not on the same level. We're two different entities. Like, I'm not competing with you. That's not what I put this on for. I'm putting this on because y'all keep messing with me. And I don't know why. I'm humble. I stay to myself. I only act cocky when you mess with me. Even with the 300-pound deadlift. Like, they were doing so much. I even remember the cop was in the background looking annoyed and stuff when I was doing I'd be seeing him in the mirror. He'd be watching me standing by the owner for the gym. He's looking like in the mirror, in the phone, and looking bothered that I'm doing. I'm telling you, I'd be seeing it. I'm like, what the heck? And I just think it all stems back to that dude. That's their friend. That's their friend. Y'all, there's some annoying, loud... Hold on a minute, y'all. Let me see what the heck that is. so irritating. That neighbor is so annoying, y'all. And you have to understand the houses are so close together. This is why I'm saying what I'm saying. All of a sudden he's raking super loud by the gate. And you can hear it in the video. So understand the irritation I feel 24/7 dealing with that, where you have no privacy. You're in this small little house. The houses are so close together. You know, that's something my parents used to always complain about with this neighborhood, that the houses are so close together. But imagine dealing with that type of neighborhood and being a target. You know how irritating that is? And you have to try so hard not to have these nasty reactions. It's going to happen. It's inevitable. It's really irritating. It's like nosy activity. Like, mind your business. Anyway, and it's like with that neighbor specifically too, it's like he'd be inserting himself in stuff that, with the gym and stuff that has nothing to do with him. Like anytime I'm making a video about the dude, he's making noise over there. They've seen it. It's like he's taking on he don't know the dude. I know he doesn't. It's just weird. I don't really get it or understand it. Mind your business. Anyway, I'm not trying to be negative, y'all, but this is, now you see reactive abuse. Here's an example. That's an example. That's an annoying distraction while I'm trying to do this video. So anyway, I mean, it's just kind of like this thing where I feel like they're competing with me in there. And I don't mean competing like typical. I don't think they have that personality type. Like, I don't think the cop naturally competes with people. I don't think he's a competitive person. I mean, a lot of people in law enforcement are athletic. So there might be an element of competition within your spirit because you probably are an athletic person, right? But I think it's specifically with me. I think something within me triggers, especially with the dudes, but not even just the dudes, this level of like, you're competing with me. And I think it's because of some of the reactions I've had to some of the things that are being done. And I think it's my persona. I don't know what it is, but it's just this thing where they want to humble me. And it almost feels like a competition, like I'm being competed with. Even with the lifting of the weights, when I was, like I said, deadlifting to 300 pounds, I remember they started doing a lot of gangstalking tactics. I made videos about it. I came to the gym, all of a sudden they're offering me a drink at the counter. They've never done that before. Yeah, they pushed the thirsty thing. They've never taken it that far. They were doing all kinds of gangstalking. I talked about it. And with the technology, insulting my looks and insulting me, digging into me, all kind of stuff. When the deadlift started, the 300-pound deadlift, when I started squatting the 370 on the hack squat machine, so much stuff started happening. I just think it's a level of wanting to humble me is what I think it is. And so it's creating this competitive persona within the people around. I don't know what it is. But I'm not looking at you as the competition. You're much older than me. You're older than my older sister, so you're definitely older than me. You know, I'm sure he's a decade and change older than me. So that's more like a father figure. You're law enforcement, so there's that element of authority figure. I'm looking at you like that. I'm not competing with you. We're not on the same level. And I'm a female. I'm putting the song on as a buck back to what y'all are doing. It's not for you to now come and act like you're competing with me. We're not competing. It's not that. I'm not even coming in here trying to look good. I'm in here trying to work out. I don't care what I look like. I'm not here trying to impress. I'm here to work out. It's not a fashion show and it's not a competition for me. So I didn't understand what was going on yesterday. It was just like a lot of, I was like, nah, man, I gotta make a video about this. I'm like, they are on one. I'm like, why are you doing all of this? I'm like, they're doing a lot today. I'm like, what the heck is going on? I'm like, I have to make a video about this thing. So anyways, I remember leaving the gym like, okay. You know, and then as I leave the gym now, a bunch of gang stalking going on outside the gym. You know, the fire truck drove by me. I'm driving to the store. I just went to go get some juice. The fire truck, whizzing down. Anytime they use the fire truck, you know they're on something. Because they don't use the fire trucks all the time. I've said this already. The only time really I notice fire truck activity is when I'm at work doing the night shift. It seems like my job is stationed near like a fire station or something. Because they do use the fire truck a lot there sometimes. When they're using the fire truck during the daytime, you know it's personal, like something's going on. I don't know what was going on. They did the fire truck. I kept seeing police cars. The plane kept flying by every 5 seconds. I was like, no, man, I gotta make a video about this. Something's going on. I'm like, why are they doing this today? You know, it's like me going in, the girl with the short pants. Then the back room, the dude's on the machine. I mean, I think with him, it's just him, again, being presumptuous and cocky. And thinking that my thought was for him. I think he was in there gang stalking, yes, but I don't think he would have went on the machine if I hadn't made the comment about the water bottle. Then the girl coming inside on top of me in the room. Then the cop doing the thing he did when I put the song on. I'm like, you're the ones that are doing stuff. Listen to the lyrics of the song. It said, I'm humble. I don't mess with anybody. Just leave me be and get your bumble on. like, I don't understand what's going on. So when I was leaving, I finished my bottle of water. I went to throw the bottle of water in the garbage. The same stupid shit, dumbass tactic they use on me. I'm like, what is going on? This is all garbage to me. So anyways, y'all, enough of that. I just want to document that because I'm confused. I don't really know what was going on there. I'm still, like, baffled. I don't know what was going on. I'm still baffled. Anyways, so I just wanted to finish documenting that. So I had to document that, and then also, too, like I said, there were things that happened, the dream thing and whatever else that I never got to make a video about. I had made a video that was all over the place and I didn't post it, so I'm like, well, let me just document that too. Anyway, this is gonna be too long of a video, man. It's already almost 3 hours long, but I want to talk about what happened today. I'm gonna try my best to make it, like, in these next 10 minutes, talk about everything that took place without making it, like, too long of a saga. So like I said, I went to court today. I had the court case for the 3 tickets. Really, all I had to do was go and pay. I didn't have to stay there and try to contest the ticket, etc., etc. But I wanted to because, money's tight for me, unfortunately. And I do feel like, I don't know. It's just kind of, and to me, I understood where I was wrong in the situation, but I also felt like there was an element of unfairness there because a lot was taking place that day when the accident happened, including my horn going off to the point where I had to pull over and plug the battery out. And then when I was given the 3 citations, it was on a day when something had happened. I forgot what it was, a comment. They sent something with the technology and I responded. I think I put a video on or something. And then like 5 minutes later, the officer called me and I got 3 citations. So I just felt like it was unfair. It's like I understand some sort of citation needs to be given because I did make an illegal turn. But 3, especially the failure to maintain control of the vehicle, I never did lose control of the vehicle. But nonetheless, I was just like, well, let me contest that. That's the $30 ticket. That's the cheapest, lowest amount. I do feel like I could fight that. The other 2, there's no debating it. I made an illegal turn. I did not yield to oncoming traffic. But I'm like, I can fight this. I know I never did lose control of my vehicle. So anyways, I went and I dressed up nice. I don't have much clothes, y'all. I gave away all of my clothes, basically, in Tennessee. When I tried to relocate off island in 2022, if y'all will recall, the targeting went viral. I ended up having to leave Indiana and head back to the island that I tried to relocate off of. And en route back to island, I drove through a bunch of states with my rental. So when I got to Tennessee and the Gangstalking was just amped up, I was like, you know what? I don't want to be traveling with all of these bags. And I wasn't in my right state of mind either. At that point, I wasn't thinking about clothes and this and that and Target and you should hold on to the things you have. I'm thinking travel light. I've always been like that. I gave half of my clothes away when I was in college. I had so much clothes. I went to Goodwill and gave away half of my clothes. Just because I was moving so often, I was moving from Airbnb to Airbnb. When I got out of the dorms, I didn't want to pay for an apartment. I talked about this in my full story. So for like half a year, I was moving from Airbnb to Airbnb until I got a long-term one. And so just all the traveling and stuff, it's too much trying to pack up all these bags and stuff. I can always get more clothes. I gave away half my clothes in college. So it was a similar thing with the targeting when I tried to relocate off island and the thing went viral. And I ended up leaving Indiana en route back to Florida and eventually en route back to the island. So on my way down in the rental, I remember just stopping at Tennessee and finding a Goodwill. And I gave all my clothes away. Like, I had so much clothes, y'all. I had so many different pieces of clothing. I was a teacher. I had heels, everything. I gave it all away. I remember there was even a dress my sister used to like for me. It had this cool design. And she was like, you gave that dress away with a newspaper design. It was like this cool dress I had. Like, you gave that dress away. I gave everything away. So I have a couple outfits left in my bin. Like old ass outfits. Like the outfit I chose to wear today, actually my mom gave to me. That's why it was so big on my body. That was when my mom used to have more meat on her. And actually the outfit was even too big for her. That's why she gave it to me, because I am a taller female. But it was too big on me. But that was when I first started teaching, and so I remember her just kind of giving me that. And I took it, right? It was too big for her. She's like, you could wear this, da-da-da. So I took it. And that's what I had in there. And I have a couple other outfits in there, but none of the stuff that I actually wore. All of that stuff I gave away. So no, I threw that on. It's like, I want to look decent for court. It's like, I haven't dressed up in a long time. This is a reason to dress up. I'm going to court. I want to look like I'm taking the case seriously, even though it's just a simple traffic ticket. So I tried to press my clothes and I dug through the bin and I was able to find that outfit and I threw it on and I got myself together. I got to the courthouse. I was very nervous because I am aware of the fact that there's a judge in there. And that's actually the judge that I got that used to come to the gym. She used to be in the gym all when the things the thing with the dudes were happening after I had the reaction with the main trainer guy, and then stuff started happening in the gym. And before I was controlling my reactions. This was actually before I lost the correction officer job. This was when I was going to the gym in the evening time, and I was having like really nasty reactions to the things that a lot of these dudes started to do because of the main trainer guy. I was just like insulting people left and right. It was just like bully back type stuff. And I was thinking some nasty thoughts and I wasn't controlling them. I'm doing a lot better now. It was reactive abuse, so I won't be gaslit about it. But anyway, you can't really react like that as a target because you never know who's who. Like, all kinds of people can be around and you don't know who's who, especially in my case where I'm on a small island and this thing is like viral and a lot of people know about it. Everybody knows about it, and it's like this high level type thing. You can almost say I'm like a high profile target even though I'm like an everyday nobody. It's just the weirdest thing ever. But anyway, so this judge was coming in there in the evening time working out amongst me and around me, and I did not even know that she was a judge, and I was having all these nasty ass reactions and thinking all these crazy thoughts. I would have never, if I had known she was a judge. There was even a night I remember when I figured out that she was a judge. I figured out after this had already happened. So when this was happening, I didn't know she was a judge. But there was a night where she was even helping the dude's girlfriend, the dude with the yellow suit, the main trainer guy, when he was still working out around me with the girlfriend. I remember that judge was there and she was like kneeling down by the girl, helping her. I don't know what she was telling her, but the girl was trying to do leg presses and she was telling her something. I didn't even know that was a judge in there. So it seems like everybody was rooting for this guy. That's what it seems like. But then at the same time, I started learning stuff. Like, I just realized everybody's connected. Like, I think a lot of the people in there are law enforcement is what I started realizing. The main trainer guy, right, that I insulted, the same dude I'm talking about, that the judge was helping his girlfriend work out. Remember I told you after he kept bringing the girlfriend around me, I didn't have a reaction. So eventually what they did was they had his two friends in the back room while the girlfriend was back there. And they purposely waited till I came back there to insult me. One of the dudes, not the one that I said was checking me out and this and that, another one, he actually is a marshal in that judge's court. And I saw this when I was working as a correction officer because I was watching one of the cases. I was just sitting through the court case. And that's how I realized she was a judge. I was like, wait a minute, judge? You know, I'm watching the case. I'm like, wait, that's the same lady from the gym. I was like, oh my God, that's a judge? And then I see the marshal in the courtroom with her. There was a different marshal in the courtroom today. But in the marshal that was in there was the dude's friend. One of the dudes that was back there insulting me and comparing me to his girlfriend. So I was like, oh my God, they're all connected. I was like, everybody knows everybody. This is really like... So, you know, I started realizing that, you know, and he's friends with a lot of the people that work for the facility I was working at, the correction officer job. So, I mean, all of it kind of starts to make sense when I put it together, you know. It's just like, whoa. I started putting it together like, whoa, epiphany. I was like, okay. Oh, boy. Anyway, so nonetheless, not to go off on a tangent, that was my judge today. I was so nervous before I got there because I was like, what if she's my judge? Because I remembered for a lot of the cases that I saw, I can't say too much. I'm not supposed to talk about the job. But just a lot of the cases I sat through, I started seeing her, you know, and realizing that she's like one of the main judges down here. I was like, oh my God, I was having all these nasty reactions around this judge. Like one of the main judges for the Superior Court. This is crazy. So anyway, she was the judge for my case today. I was really nervous. And then also too, there was an attorney that ended up advising me, you know, on the ticket situation. This is to tell you, I've never dealt with court before. I've never dealt with tickets. This is all new to me. So the tickets I dealt with before, I never actually went through like a court case process. So I didn't understand how it worked. And so I had 3 different tickets, and it's like 3 different things I was trying to do with all 3 tickets. One of the tickets I wanted to contest that day, today. The other ticket I wanted to pay for today. And then I wanted to ask for an extension on the last ticket. And so they had to kind of advise me, the attorney, on how it would work. And it really wasn't that serious. Really, I was able to do what I wanted to do. But what he did was he did me a favor and he actually dropped the $30 ticket. You know, I didn't even have to really contest it. He just dropped it for me. But it was awkward because the attorney was white. And so it's just like, it was just a bunch of sensitization. The attorney was white. He had a plaid shirt on underneath his suit. The judge was the judge from the gym. And so I was just really nervous. Everybody on Island is watching. You know, it's like a reality TV show. Think about like Love and Hip Hop, right? Or Atlanta Housewives. or, whatever. One of those reality TV shows that people watch, Jersey Shore, one of those reality TV shows that people like to watch. Think about the actors, or, the reason I'm saying actors is because even though they're showing their real life, there is an element of acting there when you're on reality TV. You're not just some random nobody that's gets thrown on camera. Typically, you have some sort of background. Don't believe the hype. A lot of these people you see on TV, on these reality TV shows, they've been trying for years to be on TV. Like Erica Mena, Safari, all these people, you'll see they have like a background in theater or some sort of acting. You'll see they were in music videos before, they modeled before, and this is another form of acting. It's just a different spin on it. So imagine being a complete novice, though. You're not somebody with that type of personality. You don't want to be an actor. You don't want to be on TV. And then randomly you're thrown in the spotlight and you're on a reality TV show. Unscripted. There's no scripts here. This is all real and unscripted. That's why it's so fascinating and people can't turn their heads away. It's fascinating to watch somebody live their life, especially in an unscripted way. That's why reality TV shows are so successful, because it's fascinating to watch somebody live their life, especially in the way that it's happening to me, again, where it's unscripted. And I'm not an actor. I don't have a background in acting. I'm an authentic, everyday female. So it's entertaining. It's not for me, but for everyone that's watching, it's entertainment. So anyways, I'm in the court, feeling like real nervous because I know everybody's watching. I know the whole island's watching. And then I recognize the judge. I'm like, oh my God, that's the judge from the gym. And then the attorney that she told me to advise during the recess, he's white. And I'm like, oh my God, I don't know how he's going to feel about me. But thank the Most High, like, they were very nice. The judge was very nice to me. The attorney was very nice to me. He dropped the ticket right away. I didn't even have to do much contesting. It went a lot smoother than I thought it would. I was so nervous about how it would go, especially with the way my mind works, where it's like I explained to you all already how the brain ticking works, and it's a psychological thing where things pop into your head just because, people can hear your thoughts and everybody's watching, and then there's sensitization here and there and everywhere, and oh my God, it was nerve-wracking. I was so nervous. But I got through it, and it wasn't as bad as I actually thought it was going to be. I was just geared and prepared for whatever, and I said, you need to just be strong-minded and just go. It's not that serious. It's just a simple ticket. Go deal with it. Everybody's watching. Oh, well, they always are. It's fine. You'll be okay. So I went in and dealt with it. Excuse me, and I was courteous, and, things went smooth, man. The judge was very nice, and the attorney was very nice, too, and just dropped the case, and it was simple. I didn't deal with anything. Everybody was polite and helpful. There was a lot of birds chirping. I felt very nervous and anxious, but I got through it, and it didn't go as bad as I thought it would, and my brain didn't tick as much as I thought it would. The main thing that was happening that was embarrassing was my nose was stuffy. I didn't know how it was going to be, and I didn't know I was going to be in a courtroom with a bunch of people, and so I didn't blow my nose ahead of time, and so I'm sitting next to these two girls, and my nose is completely stuffed up. I'm like, oh my God, I need to blow my nose, and so I had to keep going, like Chucky from... Not Chucky. But Chucky, I think, had sinuses, too, from Rugrats. The annoying kid from... I don't know if you know the show. If you're a millennial, you do. Hey Arnold? The dude that Helga Pataki used to put her fist up and punch him in the nose with the glasses? Like, every time he come over her shoulder breathing heavy, and then she just punch him in the nose. Like, I was feeling like him. Like, my nose was so damn stuffy. I was like, oh my God, this is so embarrassing. And I couldn't breathe. But, other than that, y'all, because I'm going off on a tangent, other than that, it wasn't too bad. It really wasn't that bad of an experience. I felt like it went relatively smooth. So then I leave, and before I left the house for the court case, I told my mom where I was going. And so she said, well, since you're dressed up nice today, why don't you go down to basically the Department of Education? They're in a different location now. That's what I'm saying, basically. I think they've moved to this location temporarily, but they've been there for a while, since COVID. Anyway, she said, go down to the Department of Education and just go speak to Miss So-and-so. I'm not going to say her name. The same lady that my mom told me she spoke to about a month ago. Not a month ago. What am I saying? Not a month ago. I'm sorry, I'm hearing noise in the background, y'all. There's a reason why they're making noise. But the same lady that she told me about a week ago that she spoke to, and she told her that, I'm here and looking for work or whatever, and she said that the lady said that they are hiring teachers and to tell me to apply. So that same lady, my mom told me, well, since you're dressed up nice right now and you're going to court, why don't you go talk to her after court? So I said, sorry, y'all, you're gonna hear a car pulling up. That's my brother. He has a loud engine. Anyway, so I said, okay, no problem. So after the court case, I went in my car and I headed straight down there. Of course, I'm nervous. I'm already a ball of nerves from what happened in the courtroom, even though it went relatively smooth. I still felt just nervous energy, but I drove down there, headed down there. When I got down there, I saw a few cars in the parking lot, but I don't know the area like that, so I'm looking for which building to go in. I said, let me call my mom. So I just called her. I said, hey, I don't know which building to go in. And she said, you know what? Good. I'm glad you called. She said, I actually just sent her an email and I got an automated email back saying she's not in office today. So I said, okay, no problem. So I went to my car. I didn't think anything of it. I'm like, I know nothing bad happened. I didn't do anything today. To me, the court case went well. I feel like left on an amicable note with the judge. The way she spoke to me, she was very kind. I felt like everything went well in the courtroom. So I'm like, I don't think anything went wrong. So I'm like, I don't think this is any type of tactic. I don't think this is anything. I think, she probably really is out of office, because I recall before I tried to relocate off island, before my targeting went viral, before anybody. Anyways, y'all, sorry about that. I had to cut the video because I realized that I accidentally said the name of the lady just now when I was saying what I was saying about trying to contact her before I left island. But I recall when I was first attempting to become a teacher, when I had just gotten back on island, it was very hard to get in touch with her. Once I turned in all my paperwork and stuff, not hard to get in touch. I got in touch with her relatively easy. But I mean, it was hard to get in touch with her in person. Like, it would always be via email. Like, every time I try to go, she's like out the office or something's going on, or she's in a meeting, or so she's a very busy person. So I didn't try to email her. I didn't try to call. Instead, I went in. My mom told me spur of the moment to go in. There was no motive for her to tell me to apply. I didn't ask about this, not to talk against. I'm excited, if possible, if I can actually teach, that's exciting. But I didn't ask for it. Like, randomly, my mom just came in and told me, hey, they're all talk. They all are in communication. So obviously this is something she was given the green light for. She said, hey, Miss so-and-so said that they're hiring and to apply. So I'm like, I don't think that was any sort of tactic. I think she genuinely was out of the office today. So anyways, nonetheless, I wasn't thinking anything of it. I just, kind of thought to myself, okay, well, I'll get in touch with her when I get in touch with her. But as I was heading down to the school, I do remember with my Spotify, they'll deviate off the playlist sometimes, the AI, and they'll start throwing songs at me with sensitization. So I remember they sent me a song called Dreamer. So I was like, oh boy. I'm like, why would they send this now? And they know I'm going in here to meet with someone from the Department of Education. Come on, man. But then they were saying direct to convo in the courtroom too. Before I left, they kept mentioning slow, and there's this guy that kept sipping his water next to me, and they said sometimes the wheel turns real slowly. So I think they were trying to hint to me about being slow and with the stuff again. So I'm just like, okay, it's not that serious. I don't think it's a big deal. So anyway, when I'm leaving the school now, though, I noticed the playlist then put on something that said highs and lows. And it was a sign that wasn't on my playlist. And I think they meant, high because I had just left the courtroom on a good note, and then low because now this happened, where it seems like I couldn't get in touch with the person I was trying to get in touch with, when I don't think it's that big of a deal. So I remember just thinking in my head, I don't think it's that serious. I said, this song has sensitization. I remember I told you these one-sided conversations happen because I know everyone's listening. So anyway, I was like, now they're putting this song on my playlist, highs and lows. I think they're talking about the court case going well, and then now this thing where I can't get in touch with the person for the Department of Education, but I wouldn't call that a low. I said, she's really hard to get in touch with for real. She's a very busy person. I don't think it's that serious. I remember thinking that in my head. But then as I'm driving up the highway, I notice I see on a ref campaign motorcycle somebody in a military uniform. I've never seen that. They gang stalk me all the time with ref campaign and with motorcycles. Sometimes I've even seen someone wearing red and white. I've never seen someone in a military uniform doing ref campaign on a motorcycle. So I remember just looking like, wait, what is going on? It's like, is this a tactic for real? I'm like, why? What happened? I said, nothing happened. So I remember that annoying me. And then when I pulled up to the house, I remember just the bird going chirp, 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 chirp when I pulled up and parked. And then somebody revving by in the neighborhood. So I'm like, is something going on? Or are they just pulling my chain again? Because to my knowledge, the court case went relatively well. Yeah, I was anxious, understandably so. The whole island's watching. I would like you to see how that feels. But I think I handled it pretty well. I don't think it went that bad. I actually had an amicable conversation with the judge. I had an amicable conversation with the attorney. I know he knows about me. And he was still kind to me and he helped me. He didn't give me a hard time. Everybody in there was actually polite to me. So I'm like, I didn't see anything bad happen. I actually left feeling pretty good about everything that took place in there. So I'm like, what the heck happened? I was just like confused like crazy. And I came home and I slept for the whole day because I worked last night an 8-hour shift. Remember I told you I was at the facility where I used to be a correction officer. So that's an 8-hour shift, and I was exhausted. I was in the courtroom for hours until 12. I didn't leave until and so I was tired. When I got home, I just knocked out. I slept all day. I didn't even keep up with my diet today. I didn't even eat everything I was supposed to eat today before my fast ended or started. So anyway, I just remember thinking to myself, do I need to make a video about this and document what happened? Because I don't understand what happened. I'm so confused. I don't even think anything happened. I'm confused. Like, what's going on? So anyway, I don't know what's going on. My mom didn't say anything negative to me when I got in. She was asking me something about my phone, and then when she left, she said she asked me something, and she said, I'll talk to you when I get back. And she seems normal. Everything seems normal to me. So I don't know if it's just another pull in my chain type thing or what's going on. I'm just like, I don't understand what happened. So no, I thought I would add that into the video though, y'all, and talk about that too. And also too, like I said, I just wanted to finish the video from yesterday where I was documenting what took place in the gym on Wednesday, because that whole thing felt unprovoked to me. I didn't even understand that. I was so confused. Anyways, y'all, this is gonna be a super long video. I'm gonna make it part 2 to the last one because it's kind of like a continuation of the gym saga, continuation of what I talked about in the last video with a little add-on, the court case thing, and an update about the teaching thing. So I'll let you guys know what's going on. I'll keep you updated. I just wanted to tell y'all what happened. I don't know what happened. I'm still confused. I don't even know if something happened or if they're just messing with me. Anyway, I'll talk to you in the next one. Peace out.